What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph broadcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm David.
And I'm Liam.
And Brograph is a supplement to our site, brograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other MoGraph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. And you can email us, brograph@brograph.com, or hit us up on Twitter, ask us questions, leave comments, give us topic ideas, and we would love to talk about them. This is a listener-driven show, so make sure you send those in. And
or join us on the Slack. You keep forgetting that the past few weeks.
Brograph.com/Slack.
Your perma
No, I've
notes.
said it. I've said it every week. We've been talking about it.
Yeah, once I
good.
say, join us on the Slack.
But the Slack has been going strong. There's 160 people on there now, something like that.
Let's see.
Something like that.
149.
I never get on it. It's such a distraction.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm on like
Here's
10
the thing.
Slack channels and I can't. I don't know. It's fun and I could totally get sucked into it, but it's so distracting.
I find
You literally
myself
can't
like
even.
watching the conversation because I get all the notifications on my phone, and sometimes when you guys get into discussions, it's like annoying. You know,
Yeah.
I've had to snooze it
on
a
my
few
phone.
times, but no, I don't know. I find myself going to the Slack so much more than I do Twitter nowadays.
Wow.
It's fun. It's fun to go in there. You know, if you kind
jokes.
of treat it like something like Twitter, where you just kind of open it when you open it and turn off some of the notifications, it's fun to go through. The only thing though is if you miss a conversation, it's kind of hard to go back and
totally
really talk about it. But we have a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a good show.
It'll be a long show. I told my wife, don't expect me to come home early or come to bed early because we got David Ariev on the show, we got Liam. So it's like
Octane Jesus and Redshift Judas.
I didn't write down any notes this week. I wrote down like maybe a little bit. Usually I write down way more. So hopefully I will not contribute anything.
Yeah, David, you haven't been on the show for a while.
I know.
We've missed you a lot.
We miss you.
We haven't
I
even
miss you
talked
guys
to you in a while.
I know, it's crap. Yeah, and I've been.
It's crap.
I want to play Halo too. I've been.
Yeah.
I actually got
One
Destiny.
day we'll have a Halo lunch again.
Yeah, totally. I got Destiny, and it's really similar to Halo, and I've been kind of addicted to that. But
Oh yeah.
it's still not
Density.
as fun as as killing dudes with you guys.
Yeah.
Just love
Yeah, I
killing.
know.
I
Just love killing. Oh boy. So there's a lot to talk about. The first thing I wanted to talk about with like the week and whatnot is we've got the video of Matthias on Chris Doe's show on the future.
Dat Doe though.
Chris Doe.
Chris Doe. I don't know if y'all had a chance to watch it. It's like an hour and a half, something like that.
I
watched
saw
a little
it.
bit of it live. I
saw it live.
Matthias is a good-looking dude.
Yeah, he's got a good voice.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he talked about all sorts of stuff, like his upbringing and like how he ended up where he is, and tantric sex and all sorts of
How to kill
stuff.
someone.
I
That's
missed
how
that.
he rolls.
Yeah. He talked about he shouted out to Brograph like 3 times.
Several times, yeah.
Chris Doe is like, I got to check out these Brograph dudes.
Yeah, you don't want to check us out. We suck.
Nah. No, but I actually like I had the YouTube channel on for the future and which sounds like a rap name, by the way. I mean, isn't that
The
like
Future?
Well, because they leave
Future-
off the E on the end. It's like
Right.
Yeah, that too. Future, The Weeknd, YOLO.
YOLO. It's edgy. It's good.
So, but the thing was on that autoplay on YouTube, and so when it was done, it started playing other stuff, and I was really enjoying watching some of the different things on that network. It looks pretty good. I hadn't really watched
it's
Did
much
one
on
of
it
there
completely mess up like the way you want to do podcasts now? Because that's why you don't listen to any of those other podcasts.
This is the only way I ever want to do podcasts. Just like talking to you guys and totally BSing the whole time.
Right.
Because the more formal stuff, I don't know. It just kind of
You would
bugs
be
me.
surprised. We are actually very formal. We have ours
we have
is
a
formulated.
Structure. Well, maybe I just
we've
like
got a very
the
good
weird structure that we've organically grown that includes Beeple's people and what's your flavor. It's just the stuff that I want to talk about.
Rick and Morty talk.
Yeah,
Rick and Morty talk. I can just exactly zone out and do it.
So some other things going on this week. Thankfully, I don't know about everybody else, but coming up on the holidays, it has just gotten crazy with work.
Yeah, I've been so slammed. It's totally sucked. I worked for like 14 days in a row, 10 or 12-hour days, and I don't know. You guys are probably like, that's nothing. That's like us all the time. But I'm lazy, and I'm used to like constantly taking breaks. So I was like working for an official company alongside Mr. Beeple there. So that was super intimidating, and I was trying to like step up my game and get my foot in the door with this place. And I kind of maybe, at least for me, over delivered. And this was like a kind of job that just stretched on and on. Like I thought I was booked for 10 days, but then it ended up being 13 days. And I let the dude know at 13 days. So I was like, hey, I was supposed to, only be booked for 10 days. And he's like, wait, what day is it? It's November 7th? Or it's November 14th. I thought it was the 7th. So like this guy was like so strung out on this job.
What day is it?
What day is it?
What year is it?
He had like gone back and forth to China and like was just completely sleep deprived and didn't even realize that I was like already 3 days overbooked. And like it was just there's like they thought it was going to go until Thursday of this week, but they're still jamming on it. And yeah, I could tell that this client was just the kind that was like constantly asking for random crap and taking like really good designs and slowly ruining them. So I was just like, I'm out.
I will say, like, in comparison to last year, I have found like, so last year this time we were working on this super massively huge like 20-minute animation.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
For some church and stuff. And I will say the work that we've been getting over the past like couple months has just been exponentially so much more fun.
And like high quality, high profile. It's really cool. It's really cool. It's been a weird up and down year, but like I'm glad that going into the holidays is pretty cool. Hopefully for everybody else listening, they're starting to get their holiday projects on as well. We finished up quite a few things there. Bart and Damer had already been chewed, actually posted the final version of the G-Shock watch.
That was super
spot
cool
that we were working on.
Yeah, that one was fun to work on.
Everyone I've talked to about that's like, I love the ground.
Yeah.
The ground.
Yeah, the ground looks so good. Yeah.
That's
but
funny.
All of it looks
I'd like to say I had a part in that since I made all the debris on the ground.
Nice.
I did the very last two shots. Those were mine.
Sweet.
Cool. Yeah.
So
was that when the watch like finally slams down to the ground, or was that another?
Yeah. Well,
it looks really good.
It kind of just sets it down. You know, and you got the two other watches in the distance, and then the shot right before that is like it's like a locked camera angle to the thing while it's moving.
I don't know. Yeah, those are all really
very, cool. Very Darren Aronofsky.
The only thing that the spot makes me think of is that, or other than the fact that it's beautiful, the thing that stands out as like not to the same quality is the water, like the fluid sims.
I agree.
Fluid sims are hard. They're super hard.
I'll tell you why that is. And I thought it too. It was their first time using Houdini.
Oh, that was Houdini.
Yeah,
that was
Houdini.
See, that's hilarious.
But there's no motion blur on it.
There's no motion blur on it.
Yeah.
That definitely hurts. But the hard thing is, like, even if you use like RealFlow for C4D, and you do the thing like you'd like Alembic cache it like you'd want to do, Alembic caching means that it's really hard to get motion blur. Like RealFlow for C4D like has those vertex tags, but then if you want to send it out to any kind of farm or whatever, then you're kind of gonna be screwed. But yeah, I recently did.
But they do everything in house. They don't send them out to farms.
Right. So maybe they should just use RealFlow for C4D.
I was chatting up Barton Damer yesterday, and we're gonna have him back on the show because he's got some interesting thoughts about Redshift.
Oh really?
I'm sure.
I would like to hear about that.
Yeah.
Can you just like? Can you just let me know like what?
Now are
they positive or negative?
Yeah,
now I'm like super
we gotta
curious.
wait.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna tease that one.
You're just gonna tease that. I hate you.
I'll let you know after the show.
I really want to hear. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
No, it was that was a lot of fun to work on. There were interestingly enough, all the volumetric light was Redshift, and everything else was Octane. It was all Octane except and the smoke was responsible for the
Turbulence FD Octane.
Yeah. So I was responsible for the passes of Redshift with the volumetrics, and then like the rigging system, like the chain. Like I built all the rigs, the chains, and all the hardware that was holding the watch and all that. So
that's super cool.
That was really fun. Oh, and some of the racks that the watches are in.
I remember when you built the rack.
Yeah, nice rack.
Nice rack.
I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, I mean I think volumetrics are like the biggest reason I would switch to Redshift, because right now I'm doing a project that is all cloudscapes, and it's like,
oh, that looks so
frustrating.
Yeah.
Thank you. But like, if you try to, I don't know, like having multiple VDBs, and that overlapping error is the most annoying thing ever. And like when Liam shows me, oh yeah, you can just toss it in a cloner and it'll handle it super quickly. Like Octane is constantly freezing, when you're using VDBs, or just the volume object. It's like takes forever to load that stuff, and it just crashes. Like the viewport crashes. All of it's really, really frustrating to work with.
Yeah.
You know how you can get past that? Don't use VDBs.
Yeah, just use 2D images of clouds and clone them out.
Exactly.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, but I want that interaction.
Right. Are you using Mitch's VDBs or what?
I am, yeah, and also just art directing like the box volumes. But then the frustrating thing with that is that it's this infinite noise that gets cut off at some point. So if you want like a thin layer of clouds, the top and bottom are going to be flattened. Does that make sense? Like with the like in my space video, it worked because I was in the clouds the whole time. But if I'm like above the clouds, looking down on a layer of them, they're all going to be cut off at the same spot. So then I'm like patching in extra VDBs, try to get some additional detail, like so that you've got little fluffy bits that are coming up in random places, and like other pillars and formations and things. It's just really difficult and frustrating to try to art direct that stuff.
Fluffy bits.
Well,
that's my new
what about?
bits.
I thought that for some reason that VDB problem had been taken care of. Has it not?
I don't think so, but I'm still on 3.07 test 6A.
There's
so
a
funny, like
6A, really?
Yeah.
They haven't come out with the 8 yet, have they? For Octane?
I don't know.
Just the standalone.
I think there might be one newer version than what I'm using.
Huh.
What about if you were to go in some sort of other program and combine your VDBs and re-export them somehow? Can you do that?
Can you? I don't know.
Or something?
You can do that.
That sounds like something technical.
Yeah, I mean, you can just make a bunch of clouds in Houdini and make it one giant VDB and then export it.
But then you need Houdini.
Yeah. And you have to know. That's my issue is like having quick turnaround projects that have to look good. I'm always going to reach for the stuff I'm most comfortable with. Like it's really hard to like. It's like, okay, if I were able to pause time and like learn for like 2 months, then I would totally learn Redshift and like use that for this portion of it, or Houdini, whatever. Pause time for like 3 years for Houdini.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, there is that one new series that we were talking about the other day. Houdini Mark posted, and he just posted that he's on like the 3rd or 4th installment of that series at this point. So
yeah.
Cool.
Do we have a link to that?
Is
What's
that
that?
in Tagma's stuff, or is that something else?
No, it's Rohan Dalavi. He does a bunch of stuff. He's got like Houdini hard surface modeling, Houdini for Octane, Houdini for Redshift, Houdini for all these different things like UI elements and things like that. And he realized he was kind of catering to a more advanced audience than he needed to be, and he didn't have a beginner series, so he's been doing this free beginner series so that way more people will understand his more advanced tutorials.
Cool.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
There are some things recently that are making me want to get into Houdini. It's just like so tough because there's so many. It's overwhelming the number of different pieces of software I could learn, but like seeing that, I think this is a note later, but this is my new favorite title sequence. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like clearly all.
This is my new favorite title.
It's just like the coolest thing ever. Here, I'll look it up right now. I have no idea what it is. But it's like it's clearly all Houdini, like all these like bones coming together and forming this like deer, and then like these awesome fluid sims and the stretchy skin. You know that when you see stretchy skin, it's Houdini.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump with that.
Muse main titles. There you go.
Yes, okay, that's right. I'm gonna jump straight to what Sage said the other day. This controversial statement in Slack channel.
Controversial statement.
That this is a very, very awesome, incredible, best ever, beautiful piece, but it's very, very similar to some other things that have been around, like the Westworld titles, the bones, the skin.
Yeah, the Daredevil title, I think, as well, you mentioned.
Do you think people are like starting to like rip that style a little bit at this point?
Maybe.
See, I don't even know how you would rip. I mean, like, it's like the style is super beautiful, you know, so that's my issue. It's like, I don't know, it looks really photographic. Maybe it's just the shallow depth of field and like slow camera move look, but I don't know. It just looks cinematic to me. It doesn't look like... Also, it's hard to rip, quote unquote, someone's style. Like, if something's that good, you can't just go and like rip it. You have to like be super experienced.
Yeah, I don't know. We've got a David Ariev inspired, you know, whatever on Rando Render.
No, what about the bones and skin stuff though? You don't think that feels like Westworld a little bit?
I guess Westworld went there first, but I would say that there are things in this piece that are that look to me almost more complex, or there are just a lot of subtleties and like tons of love that's put into every moment of this that I would say that like it's kind of diminishing to say that it's a ripoff. Like when it takes... No,
I'm not saying it's a rip. Like, I'm not saying it's a rip.
I get you, but it's just like... To me, it's like overwhelming the amount of skill you have to have. And I think this is also another, you know, one-man show type thing. Like, it's overwhelming the amount of skill you have to produce something like this. So to me, it's like ridiculous to call this a ripoff, even if it has a similar vibe, like dark. I think
ripoff is a bad word. Yeah. It's not. That's not really like. I'm talking about like inspired by.
Yeah, I'm watching this for the first time right now. I actually haven't watched it yet.
Okay, so what do you think?
I think it's very gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's definitely got the HBO feel, title sequence type stuff. You know, I'm thinking. I see Westworld. I also see. I guess that's Showtime. 6 Feet Under.
Maybe the similar style is that a lot of these shots are really kind of have a macro feel, like they're very shallow and very detail oriented. But just I think that aids in like placement. Shallow and detail.
Right. Shallow and detail oriented.
That's hilarious. So but I think that like with a title sequence that aids in placement of the text, because that way you've got these shallow areas to throw the text, you know? So that might be a reason for going for this kind of vibe. Dude, every time, like when you see those sticks floating and the debris, and then it focuses to the crazy debris deer in the background, that's like my favorite moment, because it it leads you into thinking you're just looking at this cluster of debris, and then all of a sudden you're seeing this like deer made out of the debris. I don't know.
That is super sexy.
It's so sexy.
That is very sexy title sequence. I don't even know what the show is. It is a show, or is it the band?
I think it's a movie.
Oh.
Which is weird.
All right.
Yeah.
None of those things. So, David, are you excited about X Particles 4?
Yes, I am. When's that coming out again? It's soon, right?
December 5th or somewhere around then.
Okay, cool.
December something.
Sweet.
We actually we needed another copy of X Particles yesterday, so we bought.
We apparently probably don't need it, but it's good to have it.
Yeah.
It's annoying. That one's going to give us 4.
Yes, I've been working on a bunch of X Particles stuff lately, and it does get really frustrating when you want to have multiple renders going, and you can only your X Particles is locked to a single system.
Right.
So, yeah, I could see buying another license for sure.
Because that's
Liam,
the thing is...
Answer me this question.
Sure.
And did I see this on the Slack the other day that Redshift was talking about only needing one computer in order to use other GPUs to render?
Yeah. So during...
Because, sorry, David, your thing about the X particles thing immediately brought me to this.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Not to go off on a tangent.
No,
well, I think Billy was saying too that X particles from now on is going to be floating as well, so you should be able to hop between computers easily.
Yes, but you can't so we have the floating license of the old version.
Okay.
Me and Dave, we've both got it installed on our computers, but only one of us can use it at a time.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
But I don't know if that will affect when rendering. If you've got it installed and say you're using TeamViewer or something like that, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know either. To answer your question about Redshift, they were talking about that on their NVIDIA stream. Because they had a Q&A last week through NVIDIA and Xpinoza, who's Intagma. If you've ever watched their tutorials, it's their actual studio.
Yes.
And one of the questions...
I didn't realize that they were the same, one and the same. That's cool.
Yeah, they're one and the same. And somebody from the audience asked the question whether or not you could start doing... multiple workstations on a single license, and Redshift said that that's planned. So not only are they going to be releasing subscriptions next year in 2018, but it sounds like they're going to be allowing multiple workstations on a single license.
Cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
I was going to say,
but the hardest part and this is something that Barton brought up. And have you guys used Team Render? Because that's what you've got to use.
Not for 6 years,
right? So Team Render sucks, you know, getting all the computers to actually communicate to them, each other kind of sucks sometimes. So if you're trying to bust out a project and you're doing it all in Redshift and you're having to use Team Render, versus the Octane daemon or whatever, the render daemon, I don't know, makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I wonder how PixelPlow does it, because if I upload a Redshift file to PixelPlow, it's 5 minutes, and it seems like they don't have any issues with it.
That's Mr. Plow.
Yeah,
that's his name.
That's the name. That name again is Mr. Plow.
Yep.
I'm just picturing a plow with googly eyes on it.
That's exactly what he looks like.
Mr. Plow.
Come on, kids, hop on.
Where's DJ when you need him to 3D model a plow with big googly eyes?
So on that X particles thing, that is the nice thing that we bought it now so that we will get that version 4 update. But yeah, that's the thing is you're working on one computer and you want to send off something to your own farm we have, and then it's oh wait, X particles isn't on here.
One way you could get around it is by caching out the XP sim to Alembic and bringing it back in.
Ugh.
It's not that hard.
Sounds like a lot of trouble.
I mean, you're already doing the X particles cache, and then going to Alembic is it'll zip through that, and then just bring it back in, and it's now this pretty animating geometry type thing.
Yeah, but what about I don't know, do you have any issues when it comes to Octane materials on them or anything like that, or?
I don't know. I think what I did that for was I was just doing a project where I was creating glitter, and it was this gold material, so it was all the same material. But yeah, I think you could export if you've got multiple meshes, and the same thing works with RealFlow meshes. If you select the mesher and export that as Alembic, bring it back in. So if you had a separate generator for each different type of material or whatever, then I think you could bring in multiple Alembic files back in, and then set them to each have their own unique material or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Word.
We got ours through Tool Farm, actually, and Liam, what is the discount? They have a permanent discount code. How does that work?
Yeah, it's high five. If you're high fiving someone.
High five.
Yeah, it gives you 5% off all the time. I've never used the coupon and had it not work. So. If I ever need to buy something, I always go to Tool Farm first and check it out.
And that's pretty now good. It won't, because we put it out there.
Right. Yeah.
They're on to us.
They have tons of stuff. They're the ones who make Hitler Pro 6, is that right?
Yes. Or somebody is selling Hitler Pro 6 on their site.
What are you talking about? Does that
Pro
just
6?
put mustaches on people or what?
No. It's actually called Titler Pro 6.
Is it
but
Titler?
If you look at it,
just look it
Pro
up.
6.
Google Titler Pro 6 and you'll see what we mean.
Yeah, the
TIT
looks like HIT.
It looks like Hitler Pro 6.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
I'm waiting for David's reaction.
Oh, no, it doesn't have it on here.
Is it like New Blue Effects or what?
Yeah, go to Tool Farm's site.
Is it only on Tool Farm?
Yeah, it's on Tool Farm.
So type in Tool Farm.
Title.
It's on the front page of Tool Farm right now.
Oh, it's not there right now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Just wait for it.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. It's like 80s Hitler. That's awesome.
Like 80s
that's
Hitler with like a flock of seagulls haircut.
Hitler Pro 6.
It's like
Hitler
it would be
Pro
HT
6.
though. It looks like HTLER. Like
he's a hacker.
Yeah, but
Hitler.
still.
Yeah, but
Hacker
you just
Hitler.
take a quick glance at it. You're like,
You're
Hitler
right.
Pro
Hitler.
6. What?
It's true.
Hitler. Yeah.
Wonder how much crap they've gotten for that.
I'm sorry. That's pretty ironic, yeah, because it's a program for making good titles.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, and sorry if you're listening, whoever creates that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just need a better. You
Just
need
do
to,
it better. Just kerning, bro.
Just work on that kerning.
Work on that kerning.
Anyway, so we are working on an animated Christmas card for
We are working
Brograph.
on it. Yeah.
Nice.
Hopefully we get that done with everything else going on, but we're pretty far into it. We have a lot of the design stuff made and like
we've
all
recorded
the
all the
audio's
voices.
Done. Yeah.
Done all the
track's
jokes.
done. All the jokes. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
So that
I
should be
love
interesting.
jokes.
I love jokes. What is that from?
Family Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys
And then she
telling
gets
jokes?
really. Are you guys telling jokes? I love jokes. And she gets super.
So do
offended.
you have something to look at while you're talking to them?
Yeah.
I said. Yeah.
So stupid.
So look out for that. Other things going on. We got. I don't know why I accidentally put this in the wrong section, but I'm just going to talk about it anyway. There's a iPhone X face motion capture deal you can do into Houdini, which is really dope. So you could use the what is it called? It's the iPhone backend. You know, what's their code called?
Oh, they're like IR reader thing.
Swift.
No, not Swift, but it's basically their
It's the facial
uses,
tracking stuff.
Yeah, it's their facial tracking, but it uses their back end. What is it called? Xcode.
That's super amazing.
Yeah,
That's
Xcode,
cool.
and like man, just the fact that you can just do that, and hopefully somebody comes out with a version of that where you can hook into Cinema 4D. That's super dope.
Yeah.
So
that would be cool.
look for that in the notes. Other things this week. Raid 0 finished.
I loved his tutorial.
Octane
That was so
laser
good.
tutorial. Yeah, that came out great. Liam, you did an X Particles for Redshift tutorial. I just got a new Corona from Sean. Let's see if it says what it is. He just sent it to me in my email, so I don't know what it is yet. So we'll have another Corona that comes out sometime this week, but there's a lot going on this week, so we'll see when I get to that. In fact, this podcast you might not be hearing until Monday night or Tuesday. So Corona rocks, no intro. Corona rocks.
Is that like Cleveland rocks?
I don't know if it means
How to
Corona
create
rocks or
rocks?
if he's making rocks. It could just have nothing to do with it at all. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see. What else?
Node Fest was this week.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Down in good old Australia. How's that? Was that pretty good?
No.
Oh, and speaking of which, David.
Yeah.
You
That
were
just
on the
reminds me
Pro
of
Video podcast.
freaking Thor was so good. Even though that's not Australia, I
it
know
was
that they're
so
cute,
good,
that
yeah.
he's a Kiwi. But yeah, I love every movie by Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
If you guys have not seen Hunt for the Wilder People, that's like the funniest, like cutest movie ever.
What about the other one?
Boy.
What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh, that one's funny too. Yeah, that's actually
Yeah.
my least favorite of all of them. But yeah, it's
Really?
good. Mhm.
That's probably the only one I've seen.
Yeah, you should definitely check out Hunt for the Wilder People.
Okay.
So, David, you were on the Pro Video podcast this
I
week.
was, and I was actually
Yeah.
going to mention Blair Walker because he messaged me saying he actually went to Node Fest and loved it.
Yeah.
And met my superhero, my hero Raoul Marx, The guy that I always talk about. Yeah. He didn't say much more than that he was a nice dude, so that's cool.
I bet Rich Nosworthy was there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he was speaking.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He was speaking about Redshift.
Yep.
Nice. Really?
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
No, cool.
Very interesting.
Sorry, David.
And then...
It's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, David, I meant to ask you, how'd your modeling sabbatical
It was awesome.
Go? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it just feels great to go off and like learn stuff straight for a week. So Shmoopy and I went up to Spokane, Washington, which is basically, middle of nowhere, and just kind of holed up in an Airbnb. And she learned all these cool Photoshop retouching techniques, and I learned Fusion 360. At first, I was like gonna do making it look great 11, but then I was like bashing my head against the wall and getting really frustrated because I was like, man, I could get through like half of this training, like following along, and in the time that I've got here, like it just felt like I would need even more time. So I went for the quick and easy thing like I do. And yeah, Fusion 360 is really easy to learn. There's like a bunch of free resources out there, and then I sent you like a whole list of tutorials. Like the best one is currently on Learn Squared from Kirill Chipetko. I don't remember what his name is. But yes, super good. That guy's a hard surface modeling dude from, he works at ILM. But he uses it for fast concept designs. And it's, the software is like extremely easy to get your head around. It's like Illustrator for 3D. So like everything's locked to a grid. It actually does snapping properly. You create sketches that you then extrude. So if if you've worked with NURBS, like everybody has that use Cinema 4D, it's the same kind of mindset, but way expanded. So, you create like a cool, profile, and you can have like, say you've got a line that's like slightly off kilter, you can just click a button that'll make it horizontal, or make a button that'll make it vertical. Like it, whether it's closer to horizontal or vertical, it'll snap to either one of those. You can select two circles and say, hey, make this a concentric constraint, so that when they always stay in the same relation to each other in terms of like those circles. Or you can there's all sorts of stuff. Like you can make things collinear. Like if you've got two lines that are just slightly off of each other that are supposed to be one straight line, you can make it collinear. Or tangents, be like take these two lines and make them tangents. And then you can also do things like take shapes and like a complex outline, and then there's a button for outline, which you can like expand or contract that path. So you can get like lots of kind of shapes within shapes that are the same kind of profile. So that's really useful for doing that kind of hard surface stuff. So that's all on these 2D planes, and you can create these 2D snapping planes on any surface basically, and just extrude from wherever. You can also just take two models and or two pieces and jam them together, and then create like combine them. Either like the whole thing is based on bools, right? And it's the reason it's able to do bools so well is because it's all just splines, and it's just reinterpolating those kind of vector type splines together. So you can take like,
so does it get rid of all the geometry on the inside?
So it's all treated as if it's like solid geometry. It's not like a shell. There's a separate mode you can go to create like a shelled object. You can but yeah, so it's treated as if it's like all these solid pieces, which is interesting. But yeah, you can just take two objects, bash them together, combine them, and then take the edge of that, whatever that object is, and then fillet that. So you can have like, really easily do like welding, but like way more so than what we see in C4D, like where you can create these really massive curves. So you can take the fillets and the chamfers super far, where it's like you would never expect to be able to create that kind of, like you're basically doing a ton of the work with fillets and chamfers, which is pretty insane.
Something I wish they would do. I feel like Maya did that really well back when I used it way back in the day, but it's C4D has always just been their booling and stuff has always been crap.
I mean, the nice thing is you don't have to worry about edge flow, and you can also go back and edit any of your features. You can say, let's take this fillet from way back in the chain and just like update the width of that, and it'll totally ripple down through your entire design, And you can also
really
like
cool.
set measurements. You're like, I want this thing to be this distance from this thing, and that'll just stay that way, so you can, it's a CAD program. So it's designed to create real world things. And so it's really good at creating those kind of real world looks easily.
What's
you're
the
not
geometry
guessing.
look like when you bring it in?
It looks good. So you have to go through, the way I do it is go through this second program called MOI, Moment of Inspiration, because they're constantly updating Fusion, but they're not at the point yet where you can go right out as FBX or OBJ, which is kind of annoying. But
that's what Cornelius said. It's like kind of a weird workaround.
It's weird, but it's not hard. So yeah, MOI is just really good at creating n-gons from those and outputting an FBX, and it's all really clean looking. It's not like perfect quads, but it's like, at first I exported the wrong type and I had it triangulated, and that showed up with errors in Octane. But then when I had the n-gons, all of it is like straight kind of lines that look like quads. It looks clean. So there were no errors when I did it that way.
No, wait. So you went to quads in order to do Octane, which is tries?
No, I'm not explaining very well. Like Octane, when it sees triangulated meshes or like sees kind of triangulated looking geometry, a lot of the time you get these weird errors. But if it's like kind of all looks like a grid, like quads, then it doesn't. And this doesn't export quads. Okay. It just exports n-gons. So, but it's all kind of like the flow of it looks more grid-like. You don't get these weird kind of like, spikes shooting up off of, like imagine a circle and all the different, angles that you would get in terms of lines
like the
coming off of
segmenting.
that. Yeah, exactly. Instead, you do get kind of a grid to form that circle. And you can, in MOI, like choose more or less polygons, so you can make it a lot lighter. And there's just a slider for, however much, however detailed
what
you want it to be.
Do you do? Just throw a Phong tag on there once you bring it in and it smooths everything out? Or does it look good the way it is?
It just looks good the way it is. I don't know. I didn't put a Phong tag on it.
Surely you didn't put a Phong tag on it?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
I mean, usually don't they come in with a Phong tag?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
By default.
I don't know.
Liam, you're going to be on Pro Video Podcast as well, right?
Yeah, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. I got to check.
Jump back to the original conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to be chatting
circles.
Tuesday or Wednesday and jump around in circles like we just did right here.
Yep.
Cool. And
trust me, Blair is way more organized than we are.
Yeah, he is. It was
we've got
like
some structure, but that guy is like, boom.
Yeah, it's true. He was a really good interviewer, but I was like, where's all the bullshitting?
That's funny.
Where's the Rick and Morty talk?
Where's the Rick and Morty talk? I was like, I can't do this if we don't have Rick and Morty talk.
And there'll be no live Redshift this week, obviously. Nobody's going to be doing Redshift on Thanksgiving night. So
yeah, everyone will be out drinking
that the next week.
Trying to get away from the families.
Or drinking with the families, whichever.
Maybe. Dude, back when I played music, it was like the two busiest times of the year for bars. You could put that on a banner. Busiest time of the year for bars.
Nice.
Was Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like, I made so much money playing at bars on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
So just to jump back in another circle, I think what I discovered, like on an overall conceptual level, is that out of my work retreat thing, is that I want to use Fusion 360 for like detailed like hard surface models. And then I also want to learn like in C4D how to do hacked modeling like Beeple or like a lot of these people do to create their dailies, and there are a lot of techniques that I'm not aware of just in C4D, because a lot of the time it's just way easier to stay and way more, kind of liberating to stay in the program that's your hub. Right. So it would be really nice to do just kind of like crappy modeling there. But I don't know if I ever want to learn the freaking proper, making it look great 11 way, because it's so time consuming.
So good to know.
Sub D modeling and stuff. Like once I don't know, like I originally started out just like box modeling and stuff. And like it's probably hard surface modeling, and then once watching them make it look great 11 stuff, like I learned sub D modeling, and that made it, I don't know, I just kind of, I was able to wrap my head around it really easily.
maybe that's the distinction I want to make, is that I want to do box modeling, aka not worry about the subdivision, just do like extrudes and inner extrudes like people, and then throw like a bevel deformer on it at the end or somewhere in there, and then use like Octane's round edges, like that kind of stuff to get the rounding, but then just worry about those general shapes versus like worrying about the sub D stuff. Just I think takes it to an annoyingly difficult level for me. I don't know,
but the ladies love the sub D.
No.
The hard surface modeling.
You are hard surface.
No, it's called a cloner boner.
God.
I don't have my bell. Sorry.
That actually reminded me of something completely completely different that I was going to talk about with Fusion, is that you can do this thing, circular completion, as well. It's like a cloner
completion.
Try to make a sex joke out of that. But yeah, so like you can take any feature like a hole or something that's been booled. There you go. I said hole, Liam. And like tell it to basically clone that feature.
I can feel the Twitter emails coming.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
You need to edit this episode, obviously, or else you're going to get the wrath of everyone. No,
it's fine.
Circular hole completion.
Circular hole completion. Anyway, you can like tell it to like, say you've got a circle, you can take any feature, even if it's like some kind of object that's been booled. Like if it's the feature could be like a hole in those bevels and chamfers that have been cut into something, and then tell it to duplicate that feature around a circle or even a path, any kind of complex path. And so you can easily create, like, say you've got like this complex screw that you've now I'm laughing. Say you've created like this cool looking hard surface screw, and you want to duplicate that, including how it affects the surface that it's booling into. You can duplicate that around a path to get like this pattern. Essentially, it's kind of like Illustrator, where you've got that pattern on a path feature. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Where
yes,
you can, and that's like using the same kind of logic to jam all of these vector shapes together and create like emergent properties from those different shapes. So yeah, it's really cool, the kind of flexibility you get, and it's a totally different kind of mindset, I think, than anything else out there. To me, it's like the evolution of modeling, so I'm just jumping straight into that rather than learning the hard way, basically.
Right.
Cool. So you're talking about like Illustrator. So one thing I wish modeling would have is like step and repeat. Like, do you know about that in Illustrator? Like you make something and then you drag it. Yeah. And so sometimes when I'm modeling, I want to just like step and repeat something over and over again. Can you do stuff like that in Fusion, where like if you make something and you want to just keep repeating it over time, it'll...
I think the closest is what I just said. Okay. Is it doesn't have to be a circular pattern. It can be just a pattern on a path or whatever, where you have like one feature and you're duplicating. It's basically like a cloner, but it can include like the welding and the blending with geometry, that makes it look integrated, versus just a cloner where you're like cloning out a box like 20 times or however many times.
Cool.
You can get really interesting looking like ribbed patterns that way, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice.
So I guess let's jump to this Dropbox topic, because you have some stuff going on with it. I've got some stuff I'd like to say about it.
That's my second most irritating issue this week.
It's being basically being I guess a creative using Adobe tools and trying to also use Dropbox selective sync, not selective sync, but
maybe the issue is just Adobe, because Adobe is my first most annoying thing.
Well,
this week.
I mean, okay, not selective sync. What is it called?
Smart sync,
offline mode.
Yeah, which I don't know. Is that available for regular Dropbox users now, or is
it is now?
Oh, really?
It is now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
To everybody.
Well,
but okay, here's my issue with it. Is that it's really cool that if, like, say there's a PNG file or something and you're like, oh, I need that. You double click on it to open it, and then it sits there, downloads it, and opens it. The problem that I ran into this week is that I was trying to reconnect some files, right? So I opened Premiere.
Oh yeah.
And I'm trying to reconnect all the files that are in it. Now,
most of the ones that you've got reconnecting, I bet it like found because those files now exist on your hard drive, essentially, like the links to them, it tried to reconnect to files that were in the cloud but not local, right?
Well, no, it's worse than that. Here's the problem: is that
it's worse than that.
It's before I even got to that point, because what happens is when you try and do the reconnect, it opens its stupid own dialogue that's not the same as your OS dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, you don't have your favorites in Windows on the side. You know, your quick links or whatever they're called, where you can quickly connect.
Create a bunch of those. Oh, you're saying in Premiere you don't have those?
In Premiere, because it's their stupid dialogue. So you have to just do this drill down to get where you want to go. And in doing so, what's the first thing you do is you find Dropbox.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens, because of however their dialogue works and however it accesses the file system, when you click on Dropbox, it tries to get an icon of every folder and every file that's in your root directory for Dropbox. Well, the problem is I have a bunch of stuff sometimes that I just randomly throw into the root of my Dropbox.
Yeah, me too.
Just all sorts of junk. Sometimes I'll just throw that in the root real quick and I'll take care of it later.
It's like
underscore
new
final,
desktop.
final.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is, like, for example, a lot of times, like, movies and stuff I'll throw in there. So what happened is every time I would open Premiere and try to reconnect this, it would say, downloading Grandma's Boy. Downloading this, downloading that, and like all these things, because it automatically connects those, and your file system and Dropbox thinks that you're trying to actually open those files.
That's what the issue I've been having is too. Like just now when I went to Audition, and all I tried to do was save as. I was just trying to save as, my audio file that I'm just starting to record into my podcasts folder. And right now I've got my podcast folder on this Mac was not smart synced locally, so it was a cloud sync, right? So I even before that I did this, I said, okay, let's download this because whatever. But as it's even if there's just some files in there where they're cloud files, just the act of saving as into that folder meant that it started to download those.
Everything in that folder, and Audition froze and crashed. So I had that happen earlier with After Effects too, when exactly. Like in After Effects I brought in a sequence of images that were not completely downloaded yet, so you'd expect it to have like color bars for some and say, oh, this is offline. But instead, when I would navigate to a frame where it wasn't locally present, instead of the color bars, it would start to cue that download in Dropbox, and then After Effects froze and crashed. Now, here's the thing: you can go to your Dropbox if you cancel all of them in Dropbox. Sometimes it will get rid of that crash and it will continue on.
That's good to know.
But the thing is, like, there's no way that Dropbox could possibly fix that. The way it's going to have to be Adobe that fixes it, and they're going to have to do that by changing the way that their dialog boxes access those files, because they're trying to basically pull icons and thumbnail images of all those files. And so that's what it's doing, is it's drawing from that and going to the file system, and Dropbox doesn't know the difference. It just sees it as your file system trying to open a file. And so it's like, oh, I guess it's time to download Grandma's Boy. So and the problem is it happens every time too.
So
you guys might have mentioned this while I was moving my child, but I also wish Dropbox had priority.
Me too.
Like, one of the worst things, the thing that sucks the most is uploading a whole bunch of gigantic files, and then you're rendering out just like a low res version to send someone a link in Dropbox, and it's like, oh, well, I guess I could, go to the actual Dropbox.com like a poor person, or if I could just right click and say set priority to high.
Yeah, I've had
that would be
so
easy.
many issues with that lately, because I've been trying to up my game and actually act professional and have all of my assets. Like, so I finally, bit the bullet and bought Dropbox for Business so I could get unlimited storage and Smart Sync, though now it seems like the only benefit is the unlimited storage, but still that's good enough for me. I want to house like all of my tutorial and asset libraries, all of my HDRIs, textures, 3D models, everything on Dropbox. Yeah, it's really great. But then the issue is that I'm uploading like, terabytes worth of, content. And then, so I'm having to kind of manually baby it, like do one folder at a time, because otherwise it locks up my Dropbox for 48 hours. And if I'm trying to get things back and forth to a client, I can't click a file and say, this one's the one that's important. I guess I could do what Matt just said and go to Dropbox Online and upload it like directly that way, like a poor person, but I don't want to. So then I would end up like pulling the entire folder. Like I would get a client request, so I'd pull that entire folder out, and then it would take forever to figure out that it had been pulled and index, and like that it just would stall and freak out. And at one point I ended up like uninstalling Dropbox entirely on one of my computers, because it was freaking out so bad. It's just it's so annoying.
I took a Dropbox survey this week, and the only reason I took it is because I know that at the end of the survey it's going to ask, is there anything else that you think we should be doing? And I was like, yes, set priorities for files for the love of God, so that I can have something download or upload before anything else.
Yep.
I mean, that it just seems like
so basic,
a no-brainer.
It's really frustrating because like there are these companies like Dropbox and Adobe where we're totally dependent on them. We use them in our workflow every day, but we can see the gaping holes in what they're doing and how they're just resting on their laurels. How like Dropbox has been almost the same for the past 5 years since it came out. It hasn't changed that much, and it's because they've got kind of monopolies on their markets right now, and we're just kind of bound to them, but we can see just how Adobe, same thing, they haven't really changed that much since it all came out.
And they don't realize how much they got us all use those together
now. So
do you guys all use like Dropbox native application?
Yeah, for everything. Everything we do is on Dropbox.
We have 11 terabytes of storage on our Dropbox.
I meant for like syncing, because I don't. I use a third party to sync because I hate Dropbox native.
What magic is this that you're speaking of?
What is this? Tell us.
So it's called Good Sync.
Okay.
All right.
Like GOOD sync. And you can hook up to Box, Dropbox, Amazon S3 cloud servers, like FTP, and you can set when you want it to sync, and so you can have watch folders and things like that. And so I almost never have native running unless like I know I'm not going to be doing anything for weeks.
Does it sync to Dropbox?
Yeah,
it does.
Yep, it syncs to Dropbox, regular Box, like Box.com, Microsoft, was it OneCloud?
And S3?
Yeah, S3.
Okay, that's interesting.
And you can set how many threads you want syncing at a time too, so you can just have like one file at a time, or you can have like 10 files syncing at a time. So it's really great, especially for like clients. So if you want to set up like a watch folder for client X, then you do that, and every time you render into that folder, it will only upload that.
Yeah, but you're talking about another $30. Is that $30 a month, or is that $30 one time?
Just one time.
One time? Okay.
Yeah.
That could
one
be
time.
worth it.
Okay. Does it let you do...
Yeah, but it says personal use only. You would have to do a business one.
It's been a long time since I've downloaded it, because I've had it for a couple years now. I'm gonna go to their site just to...
I don't know. That's an interesting... I would be interested to see like the upload speed, because I feel like for some reason Dropbox does not give me like maximum upload speed. I want them to make my internet go to a gaping crawl.
I swear that has to do with packet shaping in your ISP, because I always get
I think
maximum.
it's just you. Because I get like 750 up, because I have gig here. And so I can do like multi-thread with good sync, and it's fine.
Yeah, that's quick.
My new house is going to have fiber, and I'm so excited about it. April's when I'm getting my house.
Sweet.
So
not that anyone cares.
No, I mean,
I'm no longer living
jealous.
at my parents' house.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these new Reddit rules that came out this week for the 74D subreddit.
Okay, so Sage hit me up the other day, and he's like, "Yo, we got to do some moderator talk." And so We've noticed a lot on the Cinema 40 subreddit. People have been posting like this like straight up just their Instagram links as the titles and saying, follow me at blah, 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 you know? And so it's like we get a whole slew of these just social network link only asking for follows and stuff. And it's like, it started getting really annoying because we, the subreddit, the actual community we are not about just like, getting you up votes and stuff. We're not about just getting you followers. Like, if people want to follow you, if people want to upvote you, they're going to look at your work and they're going to see it and they're going to upvote it and they're going to follow you because they want, not because you're begging for the follow. So we implemented a new thing, because we really want the community to interact and stuff. And if we get people posting stuff from social network stuff and, we're asking questions or people are communicating and they're not like even responding or something, that's going to start causing a problem with some of those users. So we really want some interaction and stuff. If you're going to post stuff from social media, make sure to like give it a good title or something like that, and don't just post it up and say, hey, follow me at blurgablurg,
blurgablurg.com.
Anyway, but you can check out a lot of the new a lot of the new Reddit rules, the new Reddit rules on the Cinema 40 subreddit. If you're not on the Cinema 40 subreddit, come hang out, man. There's a lot of good discussion and a lot of good artists out there.
Yeah.
So.
And there's also this AE Scripts came out with this new deal called Squash and Stretch for After Effects this week.
Yeah, it looks super cool. I haven't downloaded it, but I think there's like, oh my gosh. There's a free version and there's a paid version, and the free version will get you pretty far.
Nice.
Which is it's very cool. I'm excited to get into an After Effects project where I can try it out. But you guys should check out the video on it. It's basically allowing you to do like just click button squash and stretch animations and stuff. It's pretty neat.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And on to Ravcock.
What's your flavor? I like
Where
to
were you on that one, Liam? Come on.
I didn't know they were singing for that one. I only know People's People.
Come on, man.
All right, we'll let you sing People's People.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have been very behind on the old
Octane box.
Yeah, so I've been on the PC all this week and downloaded the new version, and it's the new version for me. It's been so long. It's like there's all these new things.
What version are you on?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, on the Mac?
Yeah.
I was on 3.03.
Gosh.
Whoa,
yeah.
So old.
So there's all this stuff like, whoa, and displacement, you can just click add displacement.
Are you serious? You didn't know that?
It wasn't there. That's what I'm saying.
I know, but it's been a long time since they.
That's what I'm saying. like the double-sided emission, the displacement in mixed textures. Like there's so much stuff that I didn't have.
That's been there for a while.
I know. So like I haven't had any of this. The whole exclude from this and that. Like there's stuff that's renamed. Like there's like cast. What is it? When you have an emission texture, you can say,
visible and diffuse, visible and specular.
Right, but it was something else before. It
was like cast illumination.
Illumination. I was like, where did that thing go? Like there's so much stuff like that where I'm like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting used to that. So that's pretty nice.
I'm proud of you, Dave. Welcome to the real world.
Welcome. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, before you do something else in Ravcock, here's one that we didn't put in here. NVIDIA Mental Ray, they are no longer offering new subscriptions of Mental Ray for Maya and 3ds Max. Yeah, that was announced today. So I feel like everyone, all you
Well, we didn't even include Mental Ray in our Ravcock anyway, so who cares?
That's all right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're using 3ds Max and Mental Ray.
So you got this link in here, Liam. You've got NVIDIA hosted. What is it?
Axpinoza.
So I have no idea what that is. So
this is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, they're Entagma.
Yeah, they're Entagma. So if you ever watch like Houdini tutorials on Vimeo from Entagma, that's their actual studio. So they're in Germany,
right? Is that true?
Yeah, they're like man versus machine, but in Germany.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to describe them. Dave, did you ever see that? Yeah. It's that one of the videos that they did that I'm sure you've seen is this. It's the one you called the artsy fartsy video with all those 3D scans and kind of like weird Nautilus structures. Do you remember that one?
Vaguely, yeah.
Here, I'll paste it right here for you. Okay. It's called Seed. Yeah.
So like super organic moving stuff, and so they kind of hop between C4D and Houdini, and if you think man versus machine, that's kind of them.
Yeah, they do some Nike stuff for sure.
Yeah, Mark's done some freelance stuff for them too. So
cool.
Anyway, so NVIDIA hosted them to talk about their process and workflow and how they started with being a V-Ray studio and then going to Octane and now Redshift and why they did that. And they also kind of talked about general NVIDIA hardware at the end too, which was pretty cool, and like the difference between a consumer model versus a enthusiast versus a pro model as well, which was really nice to hear. And after all that, this guy Matt Workman did a recap of like the same thing, and he kind of went through some of the hardware as well, and we have that in the show notes too, where he talks about specific GPUs that fall into those classes as well, which is really nice. So like if anyone, it doesn't matter what engine you're using, if you're kind of looking to get into third-party GPUs, that's kind of a nice overview to watch, just to say, okay, I want to buy this one versus a Quadro versus this or this or this.
Right.
Oh yeah, cool. I just ordered my first 1080 Ti, and it's gonna arrive on Monday. Ooh. And it came with Destiny 2 for free. That's the part I really cared about.
You're playing Destiny before you got the card.
Yeah. No, actually, the funny thing is it doesn't let you. It actually requires the card to unlock, because once you have to stick the card in your system and then go through NVIDIA, whatever that desktop app is called. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
GeForce Experience or something like that.
So you've been playing Destiny GeForce Experience on like Xbox.
I've been playing it on the Xbox One. But yeah, so you have to go through GeForce Experience, and then it'll read the fact that you have a 1080 Ti in the system, then unlock the game, and then you can open it in the Blizzard app. It's all super weird, but yeah, it's like this 10-step unlock for the freaking game. Just let me download the game. Anyway, whatever.
It's the check to see if you are too poor.
Yeah, right.
You are too poor to play Destiny. You do not have 1080 Ti.
Right. Exactly. I think in the new year I'm going to build a third tower, because 2 is not enough.
Yeah, I'm going to build a new tower next year too.
Yeah, I need to get rid of my Mac at some point.
Yeah,
I'm getting to that point too.
Yeah,
we just need a really good month so that Dave and I can build new machines for ourselves.
Yeah.
January. It's going to be January.
Yeah, I'm going to say probably not. January's like...
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
So other Ravcock things?
Other Ravcock things.
Or I guess I was going to mention, you wrote down double-sided emission materials, and then that reminded me of Raphael Rao's cool video. Did you guys see that one where he had this kind of smoky glass that was internally illuminated? He had some kind of trick using that the double-sided emissions allowed him to create. Anyway, yeah.
Is that the one that he was talking about subsurface scattering?
No. It's a separate. He didn't ever do a tutorial on it yet. Here, let me look it up. Raphael Rao. You're like that one cool thing he did. I'm that like, you mean cool all of them? All of them, yeah. Well, whatever. I'm just slowing everything down now. So I think, people listening, just go look up his Vimeo channel. But yeah. Apparently, I don't know, I'll have to figure that out and break it down. The other thing I've been doing a lot in Octane is just making more and more complex shaders and getting comfortable with like creating crazy node graphs, not for the sake of creating crazy node graphs, but that it actually does add more complexity to your materials. So I've gotten more into, just building up those kind of materials. Like just for instance, like say you've got a texture that's tiled and you can see that it's tiled, and it's got to cover a large portion of some surface, right? One way you can solve that, other than triplanar blending, like even if you blend the edges and feather the edges, you'd see like a repeat pattern, right? So you can take that same texture, scale it up, and then mix it back onto itself, and that's the thing that I often don't think to do, or take a noise and like use that in a mixed material, because a mixed material, you've got two slots and it's like a 50% blend, but then if you have an image or a noise in the amount field, then you can use that to control where you're seeing one noise and the other noise, and if they're offset in some kind of interesting way, then you're never going to see like repeat patterns as much, because it'll create kind of uniqueness everywhere. So that's a good way to get like more complex looking materials. So yeah, next time I do a tutorial, I'm definitely going to do like creating complex shaders in Octane, because I've been getting super geeky into that. I think the first like day or day and a half of my work retreat, I was just messing around with that. And one thing I tried to do is recreate Joseph Bashara's like dust look. If you guys have seen like the dusty, like old looking kind of shaders. And that was a fun kind of challenge. And the way I did that was, so if you use the fall off node, you can set it to vector versus 90, or normal versus vector 90 degrees, which is a separate, now how normally with the fall off node, it's like dependent on the camera, it's like a Fresnel, right? But there's a mode in there that you can switch, and it's called vector versus 90 degrees, and that basically selects, then you get a tolerance kind of slider, or it's the same kind of slider, I forget the name of it, but you can kind of constrain it to more or less kind of deal. But the idea is it's more like a slope where you're only selecting horizontal surfaces. You're like masking horizontal surfaces. So for dust, you want like surfaces that are flatter, because that's where dust would naturally collect and fall. So that's right. So that was basically the big trick in getting that shader looking good. But then I also used 2 dirt shaders, and this is kind of a tip that I learned from Cornelius through his tutorials, is that when you're doing dirt shaders, you want you should at least be aware of the fact that you can get dirt both on the edges and in the crevices. It's basically like an ambient occlusion, but you can choose either the crevices or the edges by selecting reverse normals. Does that make sense? That in the dirt node, you can select invert whatever, and that'll select. So if you combine those two, so say you do a mix node between or you have like one dirt shader and that setup where it's masking to just the edges, and an inverted one, so you use both of them and you'll get extra detail in extra places that the dust is collecting. So it's kind of cool to see that. Or maybe for worn metal, you want it both in the crevices and on the edges, or maybe one material in one place and one in the other. So like there's all these different options. So I combined all of those things. I combined dust in the crevices, the edges, and just on the flat facing Y up surfaces, to get that kind of cool looking dust look. And then I also gave that dust material, it's all piped into mixed materials, but I gave the dust like way more bump than the surface that it was on top of. And then the tricky thing is that say you took like a diffuse material. So this is a really simple setup, right? Say you took a diffuse material and then a glossy material, and you tried to mix them together with a texture, right? So that you get patches. Like certain patches would be diffuse and then other patches would be glossy, right? You would expect that to be the case, but it's not really true. Because when you shine a light on that thing, you'll notice that the specular highlight as it goes across doesn't change. It just looks now glossy for the whole thing, which is weird. And I don't know why Octane does that. So you'd expect like, for the patches that are glossy for it to be really shiny and reflective, and then the patches where it gets diffuse to totally cut out that specular highlight because it's diffuse, right? You guys are with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it does that. Like probably some just, lack of
something technical.
Something technical. It's like, not that intelligent. So what you have to do is to get like the roughness and specular to be, affected by that texture, is take that texture and not just pipe it into the amount for the mix material, but also pipe it into the roughness and specular of that glossy material. So if you're using the same texture to drive both where those two materials are showing up and the roughness and specular of the shiny material, then you'll get what you would expect, which is like, I don't know if
what happens if it seems to me if you're piping it into the specular material or whatever and not, or into the roughness channel
of the glossy material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in your glossy material and not doing it in the mix. I don't know. I guess that makes sense.
I guess I would have to show it. Like, this is why I want to make a tutorial about
I totally get it. And honestly, it seems like it should work the other way, because that's what just piping it into the mix, Yeah,
it should. It should work. It should just like make it so that in certain areas you have your diffuse material or your dust material, and other areas you have your, and the reason I stumbled across this is because with the dust, you don't expect it to have any reflection when it gets to the dusty parts. You want it to look like a layer on top that's totally limiting that specularity, but that wasn't the case. It looked like the dust had been baked under some kind of clear coat. Does that make sense? Like, it looked like, the dust had landed and then some lacquer was put over the whole thing, and so now it's like shiny. So that was my issue. And I even posted a little GIF on my Instagram and Facebook showing the two materials side by side. One had one was before the fix, where the dust looked like it had been baked under that glossy clear coat, and then one was afterwards. They weren't identical materials, like one was a glass and one was, but you get the idea, where the more advanced one, basically when it got to the dust, it would get way rougher and and would diminish the specular highlight a ton. So it looked like something that was like sitting on top. Anyway, that's my nerd out.
Yeah.
And then the other materials that I learned how to build were just anisotropic materials, like, and the way I learned how to do this was I stumbled on a bunch of tutorials by Johannes Lundqvist, who's like one of those super amazing ArcViz dudes, probably the best ArcViz guy that I've ever seen, other than the guy who made the 3rd and the 7th. But he posted in the Octane forum a lot until he switched to FStorm, and so he's on Patreon, and it's all FStorm tutorials, I know. But since FStorm is literally a ripoff of Octane, you can follow along perfectly. And so I was following along with his, literally, I've been watching a lot of Parks and Rec lately.
Me too.
Yeah, boy. But yeah, he shows how to build an anisotropic material by you basically just make the bump extremely stretched out and really, really skinny. So like tons of repetitions, like way more than you would expect. So if you go like a lot of repetitions, you get like a brushed metal look. And if you keep going past that to like 0.00001, like all the zeros, then you get a stainless steel look, and you also want to diminish the bump a ton. Which that's another question I get a lot, is how do you modulate the amount of bump in Octane, and like drive it past, like someone asked me, how do you drive it past like 1, if you want like really extreme bump, or how do you reduce a bump? And it's as simple as like just using a multiply node with a float texture, so that the float, because the float is just some kind of value that either can, if it's 5, you're multiplying the bump by 5. If it's 0.001, then you're really diminishing the bump. So you can just control the bump that way, if that makes sense.
You don't just type in 2 into the...
No, I don't think that works anymore. Maybe they took that.
Really?
I feel like I used to be able to do that, but in the newest versions of Octane, I don't think you can just type in numbers.
The mix just worked for me.
What?
Yeah, just doing it in the mix.
Are you sure?
Now, okay, so you're talking about...
Yeah.
What?
No, you talk. You talk.
So you're talking about throwing a like a shiny specular, a glossy material.
Yes.
In a mixed material with just like a regular material, right?
Yeah. So
a regular diffuse material.
Yep.
And not getting the glossiness. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing that right now, and I'm not getting any glossiness on the parts in the mixed material.
Well, that's really cool. And you'll have to show me afterwards what you're doing, and then maybe I'll show you, or I don't know. We'll see.
And then David will show you why you're wrong.
Why you're wrong?
No, maybe it's a version thing. I'm actually on a way older version. I'm on
okay. Well, after this, 0.053. We super need to screen share so I can see what's going on, because that's cool and would reduce a lot of complexity. Also, we're like on the cusp of 3.08, which is supposedly has some totally new material system, and all this may be completely invalidated, because they're going to have their own anisotropic materials. That's like an option now in the newer Octane, where you don't have to do the weird like super small skinny bump to get it to work.
That's how I've always done that, is just skinny bump.
Skinny bump.
But some of that OSL stuff, I saw someone made using OSL did a shader the other day that would do what you were talking about, where it would combine certain things automatically when you're doing those super large tileable areas, where it automatically sets all that up with OSL. So you just drop in whatever you want, and it makes it not look repetitive.
Right.
Yeah. It's going to be a whole new world.
A whole new world.
We're not
every Disney, all the Disney
all
songs
the Disney
tonight.
songs. Don't you
Super
dare!
shiny.
You're welcome.
Oh man. So we already talked about the Redshift stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, going back to Redshift, this was on the Slack tonight. Did you see this thing by Kira Borg?
Yeah, that thing's awesome.
Dude, that is so killer. Like, okay, so explain to me, I saw you were talking back and forth about this. What is she doing on this?
What are you talking about?
For people that can't see.
Show me what you're talking about.
So it is
show me what you got.
It's it's like a sketch or a tune shading in
Redshift.
In Redshift.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple tutorials of people messing with it, but I've never seen it pulled off like this. So it looks like the way she explained it to Billy is she's got it linked up with Espresso so that there's a null placed in front of it, and that null acts like the directional source of the light. And then if you open up the screenshot, she's got the light piped into a normalized node, and then she's changing the state of it in another node, and there's like a multiply in there, and those two combined drive this ramp, so the ramp reacts.
Seems like a lot of effort when you could just use Sketch and Tune or Cell Shader.
But like it's
it's like
killer.
Really accurate. Yeah. Like you can use Cell Shader in Redshift. It'll read that, but it never looks like this. Like this looks great. I wish I could show you.
Well, I just put it in
Skype.
I just mean like Cell Shader in standard, because standard renderer will render things extremely quickly if you're doing cell shading or Sketch and Tune, because it's not, you're not calculating complex reflections and things. It's great. Standard is great for NPR stuff, non-photorealistic renderers.
Oh, there's I thought you meant National Public Radio.
No, yeah, that's why. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah. I'm just getting all jargony, clever.
So jargony.
Next thing you know, I'm going to start saying bespoke. Watch out.
Oh, man. So
move to Portland.
Let's take a little break here real quick, and we are going to hop over to Brograph Recommends, because, David, we already did one for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did.
And Did we
have you done one for Liam?
We did. Oh my gosh, I told you, David's the very first recommend.
No. He's asking about Liam, right? No.
Oh, no, we didn't do one for Liam.
No, not for me.
All right, so we're going to do yours real quick so we can get yours out there. First of all, favorite movie?
Fight Club.
Okay. That's good.
Good. Turns out it's Brad Pitt the whole time. All right.
You totally just spoiled it.
Spoiler alert. Okay. Music.
Man. Everything from like Neil Diamond to punk rock.
Sweet.
Well, okay. You can't just say punk rock. Define your punk rock.
Like everything from like 99 to 2008.
Should go earlier than that. Okay, so you're talking like pop punk, like
like the beginning of that, like Mest and Melancholy when that was coming around, and Dropkick Murphys. And
Dropkick Murphys are great.
One of the most fun shows I ever went to, and it was really recently, was a Neil Diamond cover band called Super Diamond. It was amazing.
Nice.
Funny.
Was it shiny?
It was so shiny. It was so shiny. So sparkly glitter.
All right.
I saw Dropkick Murphys in concert one time, and it was the most intense moshing ever. Like, as soon as they started, everyone was jumping up, and like beer was flying everywhere. I was like soaking wet by the end of it.
That sounds not fun.
That's gross.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I think it was
I'd like to go see a concert
and Flogging
and hurt
Molly.
myself.
So like that was just a killer show.
I was going to ask you about Flogging Molly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
Anything Irish.
Have any
Highlander.
of you guys actually crowd surfed before? Because I have not.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you have?
Dude,
I'm sure.
my
I'm not
first
surprised.
concert.
No.
My first concert ever was the Less Than Jake Ska Against Racism tour. And there was probably like 10 different ska bands there. And like, I have never had so much fun in my life. Like crowd surfing and like, you know, getting on stage, doing a little bit of skanking, and then jumping off stage and like turning backwards so that people can catch you.
Oh my God,
totally
dude.
busting my ass because no one caught me.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened a few times.
Did they play Zoot Suit Riot?
That is not Less Than Jake. That is what, Squirrel Nut Zippers or something?
Squirrel Nut Zippers. That is Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, I don't know anything about it.
Dude, whatever happened to ska? Ska was like, that was
there's no
good
way.
music back in the day.
There's no way it would have lasted that long. I mean, it's not good enough to be popular again for that long.
I don't know. Dude,
Stuff
the
comes
80s
around.
the 80s style is back in style, and I'm telling you, 90s is going to come back. We're going to go back to the flannel t-shirts and the, you know, ironically.
Did we just do that? Did we just do the flannel t-shirts with the lumbersexuals?
Yeah, kind of. But that was also, I don't know. I don't know,
man. I don't know if that's gonna. I don't know if ska will come back.
Ska,
I mean, you know,
ska is not dead. It's coming back.
I mean, do you think The Mask was responsible for that whole thing coming back to the mainstream?
Nah.
It's probably like No Doubt, because No Doubt is technically a ska band.
No Doubt was a ska band up until don't even get me started on Gwen
No
Stefani.
Doubt they were.
Is like she is the her and Mark McGrath are like the definition of sellouts.
Is that a fedora that just landed on your head, Matt? Looks like you just put on a fedora.
Yep. Lady.
Yep.
Actually.
Anyway. No, I have strong hatred for it because No Doubt was such a good band. It was such a good band, and then that
all these
third
Spiderwebs
album came out. You know, they had the No Doubt album, and then they had Tragic Kingdom, and then that third album came out, and it's like they were just like selling out.
Yeah,
you know. And then she
that
went
was
off
the
and
name of the album, actually.
Was it? No, that was the Real Big Fish album. Thank you.
Oh.
No, the whatchamacallit? Yeah, she did that third album, and then she went and did that
dreads.
The what?
When she had dreads and like the pink hair and like
she did that stupid song with Moby, and it was supposed to be like
Southside
ironic
or
whatever. Yeah. But like people liked it so much that she's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. This is my thing. It's not ironic anymore. I'm really gonna be a rapper, and then I'm gonna go star on The Voice.
I just zoned out for whatever you just said for the past 15 minutes.
So basically what you're saying is she took it all the way to the bank and you're upset about that.
No, because you know, she
followed the money.
All of her fans, all of her original fans, the ones who grew up on like Tragic Kingdom and stuff. It's like,
so
come on, that
money.
was good. That was good skanking ska.
I mean, that's the same thing about Mark McGrath. He knew he wasn't going to be popular forever, so he's like, hey, I'm going to do a stupid celebrity TV show. And
Mark
do you
McGrath,
think he would,
Sugar Ray,
wouldn't have
did
to
you
be
listen
doing
to Sugar
anything
Ray's
right
first
now?
album? Dude, Sugar Ray's first album was like kind of like hard rock. You know?
Right, but
and
he wouldn't be doing anything right now if he wouldn't have hopped
like,
over to TV. Let's just be honest.
I need to look
up. I know.
Disappeared.
No. Oh yeah. He's on like
he's still on that
E-Network
show.
or something like that. Yeah, dude. He's doing like hard. That's all he does.
I need to look up
It's
skanking because I'm just picturing like some weird like twisty move or something. Like,
yeah, it is. It's like
it's just a weird twisty. Okay, it is.
Yeah,
okay.
it's on Urban Dictionary. Trust me.
All I've been watching lately is Star Wars Rebels with my son. So.
Oh my gosh. What has happened to the show? Where did we go?
I don't know.
Dude,
yeah.
Asking me questions
this
or
is
something.
a run off of
Recommends.
Charleston, all right? This is a 20s like this is like trying to be Charleston, which is legitimate swing dancing, but it's just like done worse.
Oh yeah, skanking, dude. It's all about skanking. I can't tell you the last time I had a good skank.
Man.
It's
So anyway,
like,
okay, so everything from Neil Diamond to punk rock.
Yeah. What's so yeah, next question.
Okay, a TV show. Favorite TV show.
Lately it's been Stranger Things.
Have you finished it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed up for like 8 hours through the night and finished it. It was great.
I can't believe every single one of them died.
Yeah. And that Snoopy makes an appearance. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's
yeah.
crazy.
And they get stuck in the upside down.
Stuck in the
Yeah.
upside down.
Millhouse has
All
to
of
come in and save him.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, but he's still not a meme.
All
right. Podcast. Favorite podcast.
Besides you guys, I pretty like
Of
you.
course.
I get super excited for you guys,
Dude, okay, whenever they ask this, they actually just secretly hope you'll actually say Brograph. And personally, my favorite podcast is Brograph, so I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Straight up,
That's
Brograph.
sweet.
Yeah, Brograph and School of Motion, and not because I'm a TA there, but
No, I love the School of
legitimately
Motion.
listen to that, and yeah, you
All right,
guys.
we'll put
and
School
that.
of Motion. We know
I could get
Brograph
lost
is a
in
given.
Joey's voice.
Yeah,
Such a dreamboat.
He is a dreamboat.
Dreamboat.
All right. Favorite plugin.
oh man.
Just say Redshift.
No, you know what? I'm gonna say the first plugin that I ever really bought was Particular, and that holds like a special place in my heart. But
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I got that one for free.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we
you guys
did.
got that.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Headphones.
What am I wearing? Like these
Who are
Sony.
you wearing?
What are you wearing?
Those are the Sony ones that like
Yeah,
everyone.
these Sony like open-eared MDR 7506. They're
Nice.
awesome.
3506. How does
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
have
those are the
Bose
ones
Select
that like
Comfort 35s though.
the video stations, like all the stations were wearing,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like those
Yeah.
were the Sony headphones.
Yeah.
Like if
I
you're
mean,
in video and you're using Sony headphones, those are the ones you're using.
Yeah, for like $150, they sound
Yeah.
pretty dang good.
Yeah. And do they
Not
get
as good as the Bose
Crusties?
Select Comfort 35s though.
Crusties?
Yes, the Bose
not
Select
really.
Comfort 35s. You can buy them today.
I'm
at-
the only person that does not care about headphones at all.
I don't care either. I just wanted something, and these were good.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I think the Bose kind of
$150
messed up my
cared, though.
hearing.
Yeah.
I think the Bose kind of messed up my hearing because I would not listen to music on the plane, and we were flying so much over the past month. I would put them on and turn on the noise canceling and just kind of lay down. Well, since then, I've had ringing in my ear ever since.
I don't believe that.
All right, whatever.
I mean, how could silence do that to you?
I don't know. I think it
sound
has
of
something to do
silence.
with like the
Deafening
pressure or
silence.
something like
Have you ever
that.
heard
I
of
don't
it?
know. It's weird because I'll have the ringing in the ears and then I'll put on the Bose 35 and turn on the noise canceling and I don't have any ringing in my ears anymore.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
It's not like
Okay,
there's
so-
actual ringing because canceling out.
It's like a drug
just-
that you're
So-
addicted to.
It's canceling out the direct energy pulse that the government's piping into your head
Yeah,
to brainwash you.
That's
Right,
conspiracy
right.
time.
Okay, I gotcha. That's what's going on.
I had to Google time bomb for a project yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm like, oh man, now I'm on some government list.
All right. Favorite website?
Man.
You guys never
Gmail?
asked me that one.
Yeah, I don't really
No,
have a
it's
favorite
website. It's
Resource.
favorite like Chrome extension or
Website or
something.
or Chrome extension.
Yeah.
Probably like, what is it, Reddit Expander or Reddit RES?
Yeah, RES.
Yeah, that thing. Like Reddit sucks.
Reddit Enhancement Suite. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Endless Reddit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
You guys never asked me that one, but I'm going to say Vimeo 2x speed. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. David, Vimeo 2x speed. All right. Life hack.
I always try to get 8 hours of sleep. Even if I go to bed at like 2 a.m., I will just like shoot a text to my wife and let her know, hey, I went to bed at 2. Can you just make sure the kids don't wake me or things like that? And
that's
it's made a world of difference.
Nice.
So I'm guessing you don't take the kids to school then?
No, I generally do. I usually try to go to bed, except for like Thursdays for the live streams. I'm usually in bed by like 9:30.
Whoa.
Ooh, family man.
Look at you.
So it's way past your bedtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up recommends. Now that we are we're an hour and a half into the show. Let's get to the topics of the day.
Oh my God.
We may probably not get to all of these topics.
Let's just do one topic.
It depends. Some of these are short. Short.
Don't blow it all in one episode. This is what you always do. You always want to blow the entire episode
is just
in like
what
12
I picked.
topics.
No, this is just the small stuff I picked, and I put stuff in for next week already.
Now you have Slack. Dude. It's like you don't have
this
to
show
farm
writes
for content.
itself.
It does,
but
it's also
it's pure gold now that we have Slack.
Filtering it a bit, probably.
No, these are just the ones I selected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trust me. Yeah, and I even have stuff on the agenda for next week already. So, but some of these are short. And some of these, like this first one, this is one that I came up with this week. And it is, how do you reset a bad day?
Take a nap?
You all know.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
I don't even
because y'all have had this problem before. You know what it's like. It's a Monday. There's a million emails. Everything's going wrong. Something crashes.
That's my day.
Everything is going wrong. Let's take a nap.
That's my day today.
I've got
actually,
so much to
because
do. Let's take a nap.
Creative Cloud screwed me. Like seriously. Like right now, my computer over there. Like anyway, whatever. I'm really pissed right now.
But that's what
it
that's
totally
what happens,
blew up my
right?
whole day. Like Creative Cloud like self imploded, and I can't reinstall it. Like that computer can no longer use anything. First, After Effects wouldn't open; it would just crash on open. I would see Mitch's beautiful artwork come up, and then it would crash. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll reinstall the Creative Cloud thing so I can reinstall After Effects. And then Creative Cloud, once I'd reinstalled it, it would just say needs to be repaired, you know, even on the new install. And so then I looked up a million things. You know, I've used the CC Cleaner app before, or Creative Cloud Cleaner, CCC. And like that wipes out almost everything, but then there's still some hidden little files that you have to go and delete. So I totally wiped everything, like restarted the works, didn't work, nothing works. And I even like, then there was some like thing that had you create an administrator account and install it using that instead. Like I already have an administrator account, but a second one, and that didn't work either. So I've been like just chasing my own tail all day, spinning my wheels. It sucks. And now I'm just going to use that one for 3D rendering, even though that was like my main After Effects, you know,
just reinstall Windows.
I guess.
Yeah, you should do that.
But then but I don't want to reinstall, because then it kicks out all the apps. I guess, is there an option to keep all your apps as well? But I don't know. I don't want to have to rebuild. Right. See, that's my issue, is it takes at least a whole nother day to rebuild all my apps and like all the C4D plugins and stuff, which is why I'm also collecting in Dropbox, like finally, you know, like software and like rebuild, you know, my system.
You have to do what Matt and I did at the place we were working, where you get everything installed how you like it.
Mm-hmm. I tried this.
And you save that drive.
I tried it,
and you just copy that drive whenever you want to redo.
Tried some cloning software to clone drives, and it never worked. Like there would be some little inconsistency. Yeah, maybe I didn't have the right software, but
Carbon Copy Cloner, it is free and it is the absolute best. It is like bit for bit.
I think that's the one I used. I don't know.
You got
maybe not. Maybe I didn't.
And I mean, it's a Mac program, but you can copy the PC stuff on the Mac.
I see. That's why I didn't use it.
Pop
I used
another
a PC
drive in
program.
But the thing is, like, you know, you will have to go into that master drive, of course, and update things from time to time. But at least you can pop that in and, like, all your plugins are there. Creative Suite's installed. You'll have to maybe update it if you duplicate the drive. But at least everything's there ready to go.
Yeah, that would be
the latest
nice
version
to have for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. But
you know, and the way that everything's on Dropbox.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, you put everything on Dropbox, and like we do too, we have a separate Dropbox drive anyway, so everything crashes and burns. You just duplicate your master drive and start over again, and all your stuff's right back where it was.
Cool.
But yeah, that'll ruin your day.
Yeah,
so what do you do? So, you know, I know it sounds counterintuitive to take a nap, but
it's like a refresh. It's like a palate cleanser.
Yeah, it's like, well, I could be really pissed off about this for 3 hours and really frustrated for 3 hours, or I could go lay down and take a nap for an hour and get up and then be refreshed and start over.
Sometimes the nap doesn't refresh you. It just makes you like super wonky for the rest of the day and just messes you up even worse.
That's why you have to do only 20 minutes.
I can't take naps because my naps turn into 2 hours sleep.
Yeah, same here.
And I just don't want to get up after that.
Yeah.
Well, once you go over, it's like 15 or 20 minutes. I think you're not supposed to go any longer than that.
Yeah.
Which is why my life hack is to make yourself a quadruple espresso shot. Take it. Immediately lay down and take your 15-minute nap, and by the time it hits you, it's time to get up, and you're
There's
like,
something wrong with
man.
It works.
Like,
you just wake up out of your nap running. Yeah. Well,
that too. Then you won't sleep because you'll immediately have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But you can do other things
in your sleep.
Yeah.
Just take a shot of Epicac right before you go to sleep.
My buddy was working today, and he was like, I just got too frustrated and I had to start running. I was running. So he gets frustrated and he just goes out the door and runs around the block. And then he comes back. And I've done that before. Yeah. I've been like super, super frustrated. I don't want to sleep. And I'm literally like, well, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I'm going to go out the front door. I'm going to run as far as I would like in a straight line and come all the way back. And sometimes it helps. It's really weird. You know, cleaning. I feel like sometimes cleaning helps.
Yeah, I get up and do the dishes.
Helps.
That helps.
Mm-hmm.
Or walk on the beach if you have a beach.
Yeah, if you have a beach like 20 steps out your front door.
Mm-hmm. You do not have it because you are too poor. What else? What else do you do?
I'll go to a movie by myself and just
really?
Reset. Yeah, just entertain myself for a couple hours in a dark place. That sounds really disgusting. But
some people do that to blow off some steam too.
Yeah.
Just
go watch Thor. You know, I can understand it.
Man, Thor was so good.
So good.
You know what's cool? It's very cool. Like, so since we went to Perception in New York while we were up there and hanging out with John Lepore, like I have found myself sitting through all the credits, getting to that visual effects like area, and like I'm like, oh, I know who they are. Oh, I know who they are. Oh, I know who they are. That actually feels pretty good.
I know some of those people.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I do that anyway. I generally like to see what studios are working on things so I can go research it later. I want to see what else they've done.
What else can you do to blow off that steam?
Just punch some kittens.
Do sometimes you actually just stop? You ever stop your day and say, no, I'm done for today?
Yes.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, most days.
All the time.
I say, I'm going to stop for today. I'm going to let Dave take it from here.
Or like anytime I get a render going, I feel accomplished. So I'm like, oh, now I can relax. Even if I could be designing more stuff, I'm just like, that's an excuse for me to peace out and just stop. Yeah.
Now I can play Halo the rest of the day.
Exactly.
Which is a good way to blow off steam for sure.
That's true.
You could also browse your favorite 90s and 2000s websites if they're still around. You know,
like Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Newgrounds.com. eBombs World.
eBombs World, I was going to say. Yeah.
For me,
what else?
It's often just go watch a tutorial because I'm nerdy like that, and that like kind of makes me feel like I'm working or learning, but I'm not actually. I'm just passively absorbing.
Not as entertaining as Homestar Runner, though.
No, that's true.
I've been making sure that, for some of the lunches that I'll take a lunch and I'll watch like an episode or two of something on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing the same. Like watching, I've been watching Parks and Rec as well.
Nice.
So have I. I actually went back. I've been seeing all these memes, of like stuff that Andy Dwyer says. I'm like, yeah.
Well, it's because I went and watched all The Office, and now I'm like, okay, now I got to watch Parks and Rec.
Yeah, we were doing that too. We were watching all of The Office, but then I was like, yeah, but you guys, you haven't seen Parks and Rec. So now we've just been binging Parks and Rec, and we're almost done with that, and then we'll go back to The Office. It's a lot of TV. It's too much.
Yeah. The thing is, I'll binge watch the first to 5th season of The Office. Anything after that was meh. The Pam and Jim romance years. Those are the good ones.
Yeah.
Then when they got
where
all
you wonder whether
kids,
they're going to get together or not, and then they get together and it's like, oh, I don't care about this show anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of where we stopped too. Yeah.
Yeah, they have kids and stuff, and they had that weird argument in that one episode.
Spoilers.
Whatever. Dude, the thing's like 15 years old at this point.
You guys know I haven't seen that.
He was dead the whole time.
It was Brad Pitt the whole time. Jim was Brad Pitt the whole time.
Jim was Brad Pitt.
Yeah. He was Asian Jim the whole time.
I was online and I saw some ad or something on Facebook. It was in my feed and it said Jim Halpert directs some horror movie, and I'm like, no, his name's not Jim Halpert. Like his name, he actually has a real name. What it is, I don't know.
Right.
But it's like, don't call him.
What's his name?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
His real name doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's just funny because it's like Jim Halpert. Don't call him Jim Halpert. Call him by his real name.
Which you don't know.
John Krasinski.
Krasinski.
That's right. Yeah.
All
right. So
moving on.
Let's move on to another topic here. Setting boundaries with clients and holding them to it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I
had issues with that.
Yeah. Because you and I were talking about that on the phone, David, the other day.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I was like, that sounds so familiar, like last week.
Yeah. So you had mentioned what you were going through with like that 14-day thing, and then I was saying, yeah, I've been really trying to set boundaries with clients lately, and that's what made me think of it. So I was wondering, when I suggested that, what you guys do, Dave and Matt, but I can also say what I do too to try and hold them to it.
I mean, the biggest thing is the contract,
Yeah.
Like being like, hey, we're over scope here. This is what we agreed to. We recently had a client that we went through 6 rounds of revisions and stuff, and
instead of 3.
Yeah, and they called me up on a Friday and they're like, hey, can we get some stuff done? And finally I was like, hey, we're out of scope. If you guys want more changes, you got to pay for them. They're like, okay.
And what's funny about that is like, usually most clients, including that client, was really cool about it. They're like, oh yeah, I know. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah,
when you finally,
come on, they're just
something,
as smart as we are, and we may be trying to get some free work from someone or something like that. And that's probably all they're trying to do. They know that the client knows that they're out of scope. If they're going to argue with you, it's probably not a client you want to have in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah, and they were totally cool about it. They're like, yeah, okay, totally, we'll pay for these changes. So it wasn't a big deal. And a lot of people are scared to say that because they're scared they're going to upset their client.
Yeah.
Or piss them off or something. And be like, no, usually they're going to be pretty understanding when you get to that point. So it's kind of like, we did that, and honestly, like, we don't usually give people files either, and that was another thing that came up. And we said, look, we understand what's going on with this, and we're going to go ahead and give you the files, even though it's in the contract that we don't. And even in so, giving them the files, it's still, they didn't want to bother with having to figure it out because it was super complex.
Yeah. And so even a second time, they came back and they're like, okay, we can handle it from here. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, they're like, hey, we've got a few more changes. We figured it was just pretty easy. It's like, it's either you guys don't know how to actually do any of this After Effects stuff, or our project is way more intense than what you're used to.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it was one of those things where they're like, wow, like we could sit here and try and figure this out for 6 days, or we could contract them for 3 days to finish it.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know if we should. I hope these people don't listen to our show. Do you think they listen to our show?
It doesn't matter because here's the deal: is that they were really cool about it, and we're just talking about. I mean, there's nothing secret here. That's what it is. Is that like, you just have to speak up and say something. I know that's the biggest thing. Is usually it's not.
That was
a big
my
deal.
issue.
You just have to say something.
I was working for this company where I wanted to get my foot in the door and impress them. A lot of the time, or no, every once in a while, there's a project where I feel like I need to get a new notch on the belt. I need to level up because I'm out of my element and it's pushing me, harder than I'm used to. Right. And this was one of those cases where, I prioritized this job ahead of all the others. I pushed the other jobs an additional 3 days and didn't say anything because I wanted to, deliver what they needed, and I was, it made sense because I was like on this intensive 3D job to keep going, keep designing, because I was already deep in that world and it's hard to get another freelancer on, and then there's all that startup time where they have to familiarize themselves with project files, with the look. There's the consistency of the look where if someone else jumps on, it's not going to look necessarily, consistent.
Right.
So all those factors, it just meant that I didn't pipe up and say, hey, by the way, this is the last day that I was supposed to be booked. And then I went another, 3 days. But then when it was clear that it was going to be another 4 or 5 days past that, I was like, all right, at this point, I absolutely need to say something.
Did you charged for those extra days, right?
Yeah, of course I did.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
But that was the thing, is they were down to have me on all those extra days. Like that wasn't the budget was not the issue, The issue was just that they had only booked me for 10 days and I had scheduled jobs back to back.
David, you mentioned something that that brought up another idea or something that I would like to talk about. When you were saying about, you wanting to get your foot in the door to some certain stuff. There's been a few times where we have wanted to nab a client, like a good client. And so in earlier days, we have kind of, we quoted stuff to be relatively cheap, relatively inexpensive, I should say. Don't say cheap.
Yeah.
Relatively inexpensive for the client in order to try and get that work to create a working relationship with them.
And that can screw you over.
Yes, and that's what I'm going to say. For all you freelancers who are going out, who are thinking that they just want to go out and work for these companies and stuff, like, oh, I want to get this company, I want to get already been chewed on, as a notch on my belt. I want to get, some
you're
of these
establishing like a relationship with this client, and you're also establishing how you work, and what you're comfortable with. And if you're just letting them steamroller you, then you're going to create a pattern with that. Now, I would also say though,
but it's so much harder. Like, and here's the thing: a lot of these companies know how much it costs, and they've got this set, amount in mind. And if you're going to lowball yourself and into a job, they're going to expect that for the rest of the time you're working for them.
I would say
what you're
though,
worth, price what you're
balance.
worth, estimate what you're worth, because you're just going to be stuck in this lowball area. I've got a couple of clients who still are like, pay a discounted rate because that's what we started out.
I would say though that there's a balance. Like with my space video, I came to them with the number 15 grand when I probably should have said 30 or 40, but that might have scared them away. There are certain things where you do want to just get your foot in the door because it's such a cool project, and you kind of sacrifice something for that.
Well,
in this case,
you wouldn't have wanted them to walk away.
Right. Oh no, you didn't just say that. That's funny. But yeah, and in this case, I definitely, wanted to be an easy freelancer to work with. I wanted. But you're right that it's establishing maybe bad, practice.
No, but here's what I'll say about that project. So this kind of goes along the whole Joey Cornman, what is it, chart of happiness and unicorns versus pain. Right. Like this one, No Man's Land. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This job for you
was not No Man's Land. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was kind of happiness and unicorns also mixed with a little bit of pain, right?
Totally.
Like you didn't get paid a lot, but you had a lot of artistic freedom to do it, And
actually,
so,
I would say that I got paid, I got paid $600 a day. So I got paid, a good rate, and that's way more than the Walk Away music video, for instance. Like Walk Away music video, if you look at it, 4 months for $15,000 versus $600 a day for 14 days straight is like half of that amount,
Right. So, well, I'm talking about Walk Away, like Walk Away.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Walk Away, you had a lot of artistic freedom on that, right?
Exactly.
You weren't getting paid a lot, but because of that, and you may not have noticed this, but I've noticed this from the point in which you released that album, the people calling you up has the quality of the people asking for work from you has grown.
Totally.
We know because we're getting all your scraps. So I don't know, sometimes in that case, it is kind of worth it,
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And that was only a year ago.
Yeah.
That was
a year ago you were working on that.
So, yeah. It's cool.
Anyway, that's all I got to say.
That's good, though.
All right.
No, that's awesome. All of that was truth.
So,
right. Let's go to Sam Finn's questions here. These are kind of short, and some of this we kind of talked about already, but number one, how do you guys back all your shiz up? Dropbox.
Yeah, so Backblaze, but also Dropbox. Yeah. Now, I think I'm going to ditch Backblaze because now I'm going to have literally everything in Dropbox, so I don't need Backblaze anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, listen to Nick Campbell on the Brograph on the Brograph podcast. Listen to Nick Campbell on the Grayscale Gorilla podcast because at one point he goes super in depth. He's like, little would you know, he's the most backup nerd you've ever seen. He has some kind of elaborate system. Yeah, Liam, you're nodding your head.
Yeah. I don't remember when exactly, but he went into it for 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, exactly. he's got some kind of crazy system because he's been burned by the everything crashing at once kind of deal.
Yeah.
I do have some stuff that I keep on a drive, like family photos and documents and stuff like that I have on a separate drive that, is shelved just in case for stuff like that. A lot of people recommend you do that and you put it in a safety deposit box or something. I mean,
why not just use the cloud? I mean, I guess you could say,
so my computer went down a couple weeks ago, just dead, and I was only using Backblaze, and I didn't have a clone of my C drive. So when I reinstalled Windows, I could sync up to Backblaze, but it wasn't a complete sync anymore because Backblaze only syncs so much. They're not syncing applications and things like that. They're only syncing pertinent information. So I like you were saying earlier, David, I lost an entire day and got screwed, so I kind of like the idea of having a hard copy now and probably just throwing it in a safety deposit box or something.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, and that can, it can even be a shared thing. I like the idea of, you put your stuff on it, maybe have some stuff that belongs to your parents or something or other people in your family, and you all put that on one drive and put that in a, you have copies of it, but then you also have a copy in a safety deposit box somewhere just in case. I mean, what happens, when the EMP goes off and, the internet goes down and, you know what I'm saying? Like what happens in Dropbox gets hacked somehow and everything is deleted?
Somehow. Hasn't it already been hacked?
Well, yeah. I know they have redundant backups, but
Yeah.
I trust Dropbox more than myself, honestly.
Yeah, I do too. But when the internet goes away and it's the end times,
then you got to get a sawed-off shotgun and some Molotov cocktails,
because the zombies are out.
The zombies are coming. They got more important issues than my Dropbox, my Backblaze. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, a bat with some nails and some barbed wire on it.
You can't murder a zombie with some digital files.
Yeah,
Not yet. You can. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and you wouldn't download a car, would you?
In a heartbeat.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's that one. Let's see what else. Which tutorial have you gone back to the most?
Oh, man. So I go back to EJ's alpha tutorial where it's like in Cinema 4D using the alpha to show like text coming on and off. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where he uses the alpha channel and like the random effector or the shader effector, and so it looks like it's coming on from nowhere. Do you know that tutorial I'm talking about?
I don't know that I do.
It's one of his like really early ones. But I go back to it all the time because I forget the exact order you're supposed to put the like black on alpha and white on the shader or vice versa.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
For me, I think lately it's been Sakani Solomon's X Particles talk from NAB about it was like the Dolby thing where they were creating X Particles trails. There's just a lot of information jammed in that talk, and it's a thing that I've been needing to do a lot, which is create kind of like pretty looking trails that follow, it's just follow surface stuff, but there's some complexity to it. Like if you want to get the trails to actually follow a moving object, like an animating bird is what he shows. Though anyway, it's just a really good talk, and it deals with like how to take those X Particles things and then convert them into splines, and then use Cinema 4D's native cloner system to recreate those splines in a more controllable way where you can art direct them. It's just a really there's tons of information packed in there.
That's something I could have used this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also on that same note, Jan Sledeko's talk from Brograph, he covered some similar things. That one was a really good talk, and it also talks about X Particles. Like if you want to get like that kind of weaved mesh look, you can there's like limit X and Y type stuff, and there's he covers a ton of stuff too. So yeah, maybe those two talks recently.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what tutorial I go back to. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't find myself going back to tutorials very often. I'll just Google how to do something,
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not one in particular, but I do a lot of Googling.
While talking about Googling, I gotta say, people need to learn how to use Google. Like, I don't know what it is, like the Brograph Slack and MDA and everything. People are asking, like, and I guess this is part of like the whole Reddit cleanup too, is just like asking the most basic things in there, where like a simple Google will get you the answer.
I agree.
Yeah. Usually I have when people ask me stuff that's like that a lot, but I usually have an answer for what tutorial they should go watch. And I'm like, oh, the information's in this, so I don't have to like recreate it for them on the spot, which is just wasting my time. If it's like a lot of the time it'll be a problem that is unique to their situation that they can't just Google, and then I'll actually help. But a lot of the time it's helpful to have that like backlog of, oh, I know what tutorial would solve their problem right now.
Yeah, see, I don't know what I would do. What's funny is sometimes I go back to my own tutorials because it's something that I couldn't figure out how to do, and then I figured out how to do it, and then I did a tutorial on it because I figured it's something I couldn't Google. That's when I make a tutorial.
You couldn't figure it out, and then you couldn't find it through Googling, and so you figured it out how to do it. You put the information out there, and then you forgot how to do it.
And then I forgot, and I go back to my own.
That happened to me for the first time about a week and a half ago, where I went back to my own tutorial to remember how to do something, which was a weird experience.
It's really weird. Or you Google how to do something, and your tutorial comes up, even though it has nothing to do with what you're trying to figure out how to do. It's like, wait a minute, why did that come up?
Yeah.
Something interesting that happened yesterday, I was looking to do some really specific X Particles stuff, and the tutorial came up, and he spent the first like 2.5 minutes setting up his scene and talking about the Brograph Luminous plugin. I was like, oh, sweet. Cool. Free advertisement.
Was that Maxime Hackard? I think I might have seen that.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I saw that. That was hilarious, yeah.
I don't know if there's anything specifically that I really go back to besides just it's just a refresher. That's why I thought it would be cool to have TLDR versions of some of these tutorials where it just goes through real quick. Do this, and then do that. Okay, cool. I got it.
I wish videos were more, somehow searchable. Like, it's frustrating that the information that we, all the Google stuff, you can just, search through the words, but with maybe in the future there'll be like all the transcripts of the videos, so you could just like enter in the word that you want and then jump to that point in the video. It's just like videos are a more new form of information and learning, and it's not to the point yet where it's like super searchable, but that would be awesome.
Because it's usually something
maybe probably
because it's usually one of those things like you're like, oh, I know how to do this. I just can't remember what tag I'm supposed to use.
Right.
And
or which order I'm supposed to do this in.
So you're like scrubbing
through the whole video just to, that tag. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And usually what happens is the one really obscure stuff that you're looking for is some, 14-year-old kid who's telling you how to do it.
Yeah. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've learned something from some kid who sounds like he hasn't even gone through puberty yet.
Either that or those tutorials sites that just like put dubstep music down and just like put a bunch of like titles on. There's no microphone.
Those are some of my favorites. You don't have to hear the whole beginning part. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey guys.
Another blah, blah, blah. Even though we do
guys.
Those.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hey guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so someone posted this.
It was Billy.
The Andrew Kramer thing.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
What's up, I'm Andrew Kramer.
Andrew Kramer thing?
Yeah, what's up, I'm Andrew Kramer.
Andrew Kramer here.
I need to find a link for that and put it in the show notes. It is basically him saying, what's up, guys? I'm Andrew Kramer here.
And it's
for every single tutorial.
One.
Yeah. Oh, that's
it
amazing.
only had like maybe 500 views, but it was absolutely incredible.
That's incredible.
I saw that. All right. Naming conventions. I didn't want to get too far into naming conventions, but he put e.g. final, underscore 001, blah, blah, blah. Dude, now, obviously, there's no reason to use the word final in my head. Like, there's no reason to use why would you use final?
No, never ever use final.
And I don't understand the whole thing with putting a date in either, because
that is what I do.
Yeah, I do
dates.
I
do
dates. Makes it
I do dates on everything.
The file already has a date.
The file has a date on it. So
no,
does it
sorry,
matter?
my renders. I do the dates.
But there's a date attached to the file. It says what date was created.
I understand,
you can sort
but
by
like
date.
it's mostly so I can just quickly glance at it and know which one. And it's also for the client as well. When I'm rendering out, so the client has an actual visual representation of what day I rendered it and what day I sent it, And then if I've got to send multiple versions on the day, that's when I start the lettering. So you'll have, blah, 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 A, blah, 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 B, blah, blah, blah.
See, I don't even understand that. Like, for me, I'm very, very, very bare bones. The name of what it is, underscore 001,
I've
002,
only recently
003, 00. It's just going to be the latest one.
Adopted the underscore. Like I'm okay with it, but it takes longer to type, so it kind of pisses me off. There's not really that much of a need for it. It just looks more professional. So
yeah,
but
you'll get used to that really quick, though.
I know, but still, it's just like it's much easier to just type a space, and it doesn't look less clean to me. But I do I still do all caps for everything. I don't do camel case. I'm not into that. I just like the cleanliness of all caps.
Well, I thought you're supposed to use underscores because of how it gets indexed.
Machine language.
Yeah, like the machine doesn't index spaces correctly.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never had an
it comes from the days when you used to not be able to put spaces in things. But I mean, even when I name nulls and layers within Cinema 4D, I use underscores.
That's funny.
Super.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it? I'm shallow and super detailed.
Yeah. Exactly. It's super detailed. No, it was something else. Some other form of detail
oriented.
Shallow and detail oriented.
That's funny.
Show title.
Though my only thing I have to say about naming conventions is recently I changed around. I don't have like a very defined folder structure, but I have kind of a general thing that I do, which is like, I'll have my, AEPs folder, my AIs folder, my C4Ds folder, music if there's any, Premiere projects folder, renders folder. But recently I've included, rather than like image sequences or what, it's hard to differentiate like your final renders that are usually QuickTime movies and your image sequences or your stuff out of 3D. So recently I've just started using 3D renders, which makes sense, and then renders. So the 3D renders are image sequences from 3D, and then renders are what I've, after compositing or they're, whatever video files I've, baked out. They're usually .movs versus image sequences. Yeah. And then I'll also have a folder for look dev or tests,
Do you have that structure created somewhere where you copy and paste? You
I
make
don't.
It every single time?
I make it every time because if you have that, like I think with your thing, when you have that big old structure, it bloats the project and makes it harder to navigate to where you want to go. For me, I like to only see what I need. So if there's no music, I won't create a music folder. I only create the folders that are needed, so I don't have to look at extra garbage, basically.
Yeah. See, my graphics folder is very small. I mean, it's audio, C4D, AEP, AI, PSD, render folder.
Right.
So I'm not really concerned with that. But, I like having that because like when I start a new project, it's like go to the temp folder, which is in the root of my Dropbox, ready to go. I just copy it, paste it in. What we used to do at the place we used to work too is we would have some default stuff in there, like a Photoshop slate file, and things like that, things that you would use every project.
One interesting thing. This is like kind of an aside, but because I'm working with like actual companies recently, which is very weird for me. There have been a couple small things that came up in that they've got a render farm with 40 Titans or something like that. So they need me to bake out every, like I use some RealFlow, but they needed me to bake it out to Alembic because they can't buy like 40 licenses of RealFlow,
Right.
So it makes sense that you would have to do that.
Right.
But then there are some smaller things that you wouldn't necessarily think of that crop up. When I got their renders back, I realized that there were some textures that were disconnected that they hadn't realized to reconnect.
Right.
And the reason they got disconnected is because or when you send that project file over, you want to make sure everything is pointing to the text folder, that it's all local, or else it'll, yeah. I guess that's kind of obvious, but it's like not a thing that I often have to pay attention to, Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody brought up on the Octane Facebook group the other day, there is no way to ask Cinema 4D not to ask you that question about whether or not you want to put something in the text folder.
Right.
Do you want to make this an absolute? Yes or no? Yeah, you can say yes or no, or you could put something in the text folder. But if you want to have...
Usually when I collect my projects...
Right, sorry. But I mean, if you want to have something that is not local, but like the absolute, there is no way to tell it not to ask you that anymore. It's always going to ask you that.
Yeah. The thing I was going to say that's confusing for me is that, usually I collect all those textures into the text folder. Like I'll make sure to collect them, even if I'm not, like the most secure way to do it obviously is to export your individual Cinema 4D project, collect assets, do that, kind of like that After Effects thing where it just collects everything for you, bundles it all up nice. But in this case, I didn't want to have to do that for every C4D project file. I wanted to give them one Dropbox link with a list of all the C4D project files with a shared text folder, that just has all the textures that they would need. And that's a lot cleaner of a way to do it. The issue is that that Cinema 4D doesn't automatically load all the textures in that text folder. So like I had all the right textures in the text folder, but the links, some of the links in my Octane were still pointing to external. So it didn't, I think it's weird that it doesn't just default to, if it can't find it externally, it should just default to finding it internally, Does that make sense?
You could have different versions of it,
And it should do what, After Effects does too, where it finds one, it's like, oh, that means everything else is probably in this folder too.
Yeah, well, it does do that with the texture manager. Like if you bring in, and actually the texture manager now works with Octane, which is great. So if you go to the regular old texture manager versus Octane's texture manager, I think Amit fixed this recently where you can, point it to a root folder and it'll search through everything and find and reconnect all textures.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. All right. So we obviously are not going to get to all these topics.
We should just stop now. Those were enough good topics.
Yes, we do. We do have our other section with a couple quick things and links and Beeple's people. But before we do that, because I know I don't want to skip this one for Liam, we have talked about this, and David I think has probably talked about this. But Liam, we have not asked you. This almost should be like part of the Brograph recommends. If you are able to talk about your worst client experience.
Gosh, we're really going to talk about this?
Not all of ours, just Liam's.
Yeah, I'll make it
because we've talked
super
about ours.
Quick. So I have a BFA in graphic design. I started out as a designer and doing web design, and I had this client, Monique.
Hey, we're looking for a web designer.
No. I cannot stand coding. Well, most of the time, Vex is okay. But so I had this client, Monique, who needed a website, and she was from inner city Baltimore, if that gives you any kind of hint of the person that she was.
Monique, are you talking about
Monique?
The actual Monique?
No, not the actual Monique. Her name was Monique, though. Yeah, but...
Oh, okay.
So she just kind of started stalking me. I would get calls from her at 2 a.m, 4 a.m. It's so I need this uploaded to my site right now. I'm sleeping. I have normal hours. I'm just not doing this. And I ended up just having to fire her after 3 weeks of building her site and everything. I don't think I ever actually finished it. But that kind of pushed me over the edge of starting to get out of just doing any kind of graphic design and going motion design full time. But yeah, she was terrible. I think, man, it was $1,500 for the website. It was right when I was starting out in college and all that crap. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You would actually answer the phone at 4 a.m. when she called. That's your problem.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the problem too. So, but yeah, my buddy who hooked me up with her still makes fun of me about that. It's terrible.
All right, good. That wasn't as bad.
Yeah. See,
some of our horror stories. If you want to hear the worst Brograph episode ever, go back to Failure.
Oh, I heard that episode.
You know what, Matt? I think that you're wrong about that. That failure is really important to talk about.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the most inspiring talks that I've ever heard was from Ryan Summers when he was at Imaginary Forces. He gave this FX PhD class called MoGraph 212, and I kind of sing its praises all the time because it was the best class I ever took from FX PhD. And he covered After Effects and how he tricks out After Effects, how he tricks out Cinema 4D, particular and X particles and all this other stuff. It was the most involved FX PhD content packed course I'd ever taken. But one of the lectures was just all about failure, how he and his people at IF were going head to head with PSYOP on this bid, and they went way overboard and stayed up for 48 hours straight, just complete maniacs. And then he convinced everyone in the office to do this because they were going to win this one. It was character animation. They never got to do character animation. And then they, and they made this amazing thing. They made these awesome style frames, and then they even made an animation with this robot destroying the city that looked beautiful. And then they lost the bid. And they failed. And so it was this really intense talk about failure and and it was just really cool.
Yeah.
It's it's humbling, and it's also just real, and it's important.
Maybe you guys will like that, our old episode, but it's
we got so much good feedback from that episode, people saying that they really liked it.
Yeah, well, it was a couple weeks ago, Dave, you were talking about something going on in your personal life or behind the scenes, and I think that's really humbling for most people to hear. That's
totally.
You have this facade of a podcast, but behind closed doors, there's
it's like the Facebook phenomenon where you just got all your happy, pretty Facebook photos up there, and behind the scenes, horrible, dark things. You know?
Yeah, I got a lot of people who actually said like thanks for sharing that, and in fact, Chris sent in a tweet that said, "Dave, I appreciated your candor in episode 109. Everyone poops. Thanks for all you do."
Exactly. There you go.
Got a lot of people saying stuff like that. Like I don't know. I think people like to hear that people are real people, and that everybody goes through stuff. Nobody's nerfed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The most ironic thing about that class too is that he did not finish. He actually did 7 out of the 10 lessons he was supposed to do for FX PhD, and then work got so insane for him at the time that he couldn't finish those last 3, so they had to have another professor come in. It was like super delayed between things, but he would over deliver on the single episodes and make them like 2-hour long tutorials. So so even in and of itself, it was kind of a failure, but it was also my personal favorite, like most ambitious class that was ever in FX PhD. So it's just like really, it's interesting to me. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to these other links real quick before Beeple's people. These are all quick links. We've got a Cinema 4D tutorial teaser called Frost and Ice. I just saw this the other day. Somebody posted it in the Slack, and then I realized the author is Daniel. Sure. Your name's Daniel. Really? What's your last name? Danielson.
He's my favorite. Like, I've talked about him many a time before. I love his tutorials.
He's written to the show before, I'm pretty sure. So,
oh, really? Cool. You should get him on.
Yeah.
Phil Roberts went to a talk of his.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, Billy Chitkin. This is our listener reel of the week. Woo. This would be his 2017.5 reel.
0.5. You're dedicated if you're releasing 0.5s, because I can't even release a yearly reel. I think I skipped to 2016.
Yeah, we're
funny.
The same way.
Yeah.
Do you do like the living document demo? That's what we've been doing.
No.
We just have everything on Dropbox. And when we'll
just
need
add
to have a new reel,
and keep the music the same.
I kept the music the same for a couple years, and then recently I just changed it up. But I do, over the course of time, collect things. I've got a folder in Dropbox that says stuff for 2018 reel. So I'll just, anything that I think is up to par, I'll throw it into that folder. You know, whether it's like smart. A final client thing or some test along the way where I'm like, oh, this looks good, and then the client screws it up afterwards. You know, I'll go back and re-render things. I'm like, okay, this was rendered at a really weird, super like long aspect ratio, like 4:1 or 5:1. So I go back and re-render at either 235 or 16:9.
Right. I think Raid Zero posted this one. This is 44 free 14K industrial HDRIs. It's a good one.
Nice.
I'll post to that.
Yeah, and I think you guys, like, I haven't listened to last week's show yet, but you guys supposedly already talked about this, but I just wanted to again shout out Nick Scarcella's Manhattan Nights Volume 1.
Yeah.
Because he ran around New York City getting those crazy. Yeah. I think that's something that I really want and miss, or that when I actually get excited about HDRIs, they're these weird, interesting HDRIs that are like more artistic HDRIs. Like these are neon lights designed to create this stylistic, interesting look, or like HDRIs that are shot above the clouds, for sky, for that kind of thing, or like Andrew Kramer's like pack of Jet Strike HDRIs are all really good sky boxes that have really interesting details, So I want to see like more, I don't know,
off
crazy,
not just
off
like
the wall
lighting stuff.
Exactly.
Not like generic lighting packs.
I mean, it is for lighting, but it's just more interesting in
Yeah, like it's not your generic, oh, here's a sky in a city, or here's a bunch of soft boxes in a studio.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully he made some money off of that, because Gumroad kind of screwed him over.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
French Monkey.
Speaking of Gumroad, French Monkey has a Gumroad project up there.
We need to use these assets on Deadmau5, because there's like so much in there.
I was thinking of that last night.
Yeah, for sure. We'll throw some. No, we already bought this, didn't we?
We did.
It's free.
Okay.
Yeah, it's free.
Well, yeah, but
I
threw him a couple bucks for it.
Yeah, I kicked him $5.
Yeah. And then, and Liam wrote in here he wants to do another shout out to David to your resources list.
Thanks.
Yeah, man, I've given out like 4 or 5 times this week for people asking about Octane. Yeah.
That's awesome. Really good to hear.
Is this is the one you already talked about, right? The sickest title sequence I've seen since Westworld. That's the Muse. Another amazing piece for the OnePlus phone.
Yeah, you guys check this out real quick. Now, if you saw, I don't know if you saw the first one, but these are some of the best like motion graphics, like super slick titles, or not titles, but just like, take your typical phone spins and just like, on crack, like it's like the Nike kind of thing. And I don't know about the OnePlus. It's probably not that great of a phone. I think I heard some bad reviews, but these guys make it look sick. I think they're in China. Two of my Facebook friends actually worked on this.
I did see this.
Lewis, gosh, this is sexy.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
I love the character animation, like the crazy running down the hall and the hall stretching out and just like the shininess of it. It's all so cool.
Is this Octane?
Shiny. It's Octane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw this the other day, and we're working on a not nearly as advanced animation, but it is similar to this right now. And I was like, I need to send that to Matt because. But I think we already finished the project. So
yeah. Once you guys watch this, you should watch the first one too because it's equally good. And my people that I vaguely know through Facebook, Lewis Orton, who talks to me once in a while, and then Xiaolin Zhang, the guy who did the Pause Fest titles with the cat.
Oh yeah,
also worked on this.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah,
this is pretty.
Yeah, these are nice.
Yeah, I love the running through that tunnel deal. That's pretty sweet.
Look at the first one too. It's right there. 1+5.
Yeah, I'm watching that one.
Yeah, the 1+5 is what made me start to want to learn Houdini, like the whole.
Oh yeah.
Natural lines that come together and all that, and.
Yeah, those weird little diamond-like shapes kind of moving about, and like the transformations that they do, like scales flipping over, on the surface of the phone, like all that stuff.
Gosh,
just like
how
watching
long
the bevel come
How
together.
long do you think it took them to make these?
I don't know.
24 hours. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be 3 days worth of work.
Yeah.
How much you charge for that? About $350?
About $350.
All right. So this is all fun and all. I'm gonna let you finish, but
People, where do you get that people, what's up with that guy?
You know what time it is.
All right. So get out your web browser of choice.
Will do.
If you're driving, sorry.
If you're driving, immediately pick up your phone and never mind. No, don't do that. All right, we're going to follow along with this. Yeah, somebody said you've got to have video podcasts so you can like show these. I'm like, yeah,
we'll get there eventually
someday.
It's in the pipeline.
Yeah, among 8 bajillion, 11 billion other things, but. We're going to first go to November 15th, year of our Lord 2017. And,
no, let's end on this one.
But you have to go in order. It is not fair to go backwards.
Well, this one to me... All right, you go ahead.
I mean, this is the order he created it in, so you've got to, it follows the storyline.
That's fine. Yeah, well, I feel like... Okay, whatever. Go ahead.
So this one is called Void Face. And there's a lot of interesting stuff here, and I know like specifically Matt, you sent me a text and you're like, we got to do Void Face this week because you're not interested in doing People's People at all. So
no. Here's the thing. Like I'm weird about the critiquing stuff because I know I know Mike listens to the show
because you know that these are like just. It's just terrible art, and
I'm just kidding. Because it is. The thing is, his work. I don't know, and that's probably just my personal like. I don't know. I'm afraid to put myself out there and stuff like that. And he's doing this every day, and I'm sure whatever. But if I had to listen, and he listens to the podcast, so if like I would feel weird about someone creating an entire, story around my art and critiquing my art, it would make me want to stop listening.
Matt, we've been through this like 5 times. He doesn't feel weird. He thinks it's funny.
I'm gonna tear it apart.
So anyway,
Get over yourself.
Anyway, so like, no, I'm not. I don't like the like ripping it apart and figuring out how he did it part. I love the story. That's what I like.
I am the exact opposite. I like the ripping it apart and figuring.
I like them both, but I like the fact that we rip it apart and then he comes back to us on like Facebook Messenger. He's like, "You guys so overanalyze.
So I'm gonna rip it
so much easier than that."
This guy in this picture, he's got some like saggy ass jeans. Like, look at his.
They might be sweatpants.
Think that might actually be the Beeple model, because I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Does Beeple not have a butt? Because this model does not have a butt.
Maybe he was wearing some weird baggy butt pants that day that they scanned him.
It's like the Jinko of butt pants.
Yeah. That's true. It almost looks like that's the crotch.
He squanched his
pants.
Beeple,
why'd you put your pants on backwards?
Oh man, this is a portal to go watch Crisscross from the 90s.
I just learned how to put on pants yesterday.
All right, let's look at this. All right, so this is dude standing in front of what would usually be like a bright light portal,
space,
or something, but instead it's going to space.
That's the key. All right, go ahead.
Maybe he's depressed.
You tear it apart, figure out how he did it.
Maybe this is just his
Forester and a Taurus. There,
it's it's your Forester. You got your Forester going on. And
my favorite part of this image is the thing that contains the portal, because it looks complex. Like there's displacement going on in the bricks, but then there's this like layer of concrete on top, and I'm not exactly sure how he did that. Whether that was he just found a really good kind of photoscan type texture, or like one of those like
I bet you it was
real displacement textures
or something like that.
RDT, real displacement textures, has a bunch of things like this, but I haven't seen this specific one, and this looks like fairly complex and cool.
I like the growth around it too, like the vines that are starting to climb up.
A little bit of ivy grower plug-in going on, which I need to get into for this project. I'm starting.
I want to look into that. That sounds fun.
Ivy grower seems really cool. Yeah. It's how people make those really weathered looking. Like, I don't know if you saw. Who am I thinking of? Someone did a Statue of Liberty like covered in ivy. I don't know. It's a common look that's popping up more and more in the Octane Facebook group. Yeah.
So why do you think it's called Void Face? There's no face.
Okay.
It's the face of the void.
Yeah.
I guess so.
It's void. It's space. It's nothingness. Okay. So here's my story, right?
Okay.
And I think this is either the first major conflict in the story, or this is the final conclusion to the story. Okay?
So it could be anything.
All right. Dang it. And I can't find it because I'm not on his freaking Twitter. Hold on.
You always have to go to the Twitter.
So few, like last week, that I think we went over. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Broken Continuum from November 11th, year of our Lord 2017. Right? Broken Continuum. If you notice that is broken, it looks like a whole bunch of these, cylindrical things, portals, the stargates,
Yeah.
And that one's broken. And then a couple days later, we get this one called Void Face. And normally in these big circles, he's got the glowing,
So
like
the circular
Stargate
ones are
type
bad,
thing.
But the square ones are good.
Oh my God.
No, it's true, because like the square ones have the pretty like happy place in them, but the circular ones have the upside down.
What I'm saying is that someone has broken the other transport area so that he cannot actually go through the wormhole or the Stargate or whatever in order to get to that place.
I see what you're saying.
Stuck.
He's stuck.
Yeah, he's stuck.
So he looks
is
out
this
into
Earth?
the void.
Is this Earth in this photo? Because it doesn't look like the terraformed planet. that we've been
but
discussing.
it could be the final terraformed. Now that it's finally terraformed, they destroyed it in Broken Continuum, and then they no longer need it. So this void face is just a, desolate
I see.
Statue to what used to be.
So they were basically like, I'm going to go start my own planet with hookers and blackjack. And then once they got it set up, once it was set up, it was like, okay, we don't need you anymore. We're disconnecting. The only thing, though, is that, like, look at the size of this portal compared to the other one.
I know, but still, it's not about size. It's how you use it, right?
Right.
So, like, one portal could be smaller, and then the portal that you're going to could be much larger.
I see. So a regular-sized person goes through, and then they come out this side as one of the small people's people.
Right.
Meeples. Many beeple peoples.
Meeples.
Oh.
Meeples. Where'd you get that meeple? All right.
You have to sing the Beeples People theme song, but it would be Beeples Meeples, and you'd have to do it with, like, pitch shift, right?
Yeah.
Meeples.
Okay. So the question is, okay, are we done with this one? Are we moving on to the next
Lollipop
one?
Lollipop Kids of Beeple's World?
Lollipop Guild.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one we're going to, good Lord, I have a lot of stuff open here. The next one we're going to is November 17th. It's going to be called Uncompressed.
That's cool.
Uncompressed. And I have a couple questions about this. Number one. Okay, we'll talk about how this was made, first of all. What render engine is this?
Octane?
I would say Redshift.
Could be either.
Both.
I feel like if you're gonna do glowy shit, then you're gonna just go with Octane right off the bat,
Right.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
When did Raid's tutorial come out? You think he was following Raid's laser tutorial?
Nah.
I don't think those are laser. That's just like standard RGB spectrum or Gaussian spectrum piped into, it's just some geometry glowing.
Yeah. But it is reflecting on everything in here.
And also
so
the
atmosphere.
It is, but like it could just be atmosphere.
It just looks like Octane's fog, not fog volume,
fog.
but just like the straight up environment fog.
Environment.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole thing is this is called uncompressed. And
it's a media encoder symbol.
You've got your square, right? So that means, isn't the square supposed to be the happy place or not the happy place?
No, this is something you just made up. You just threw a wrench in my whole story by saying the happy place and the non-happy place.
I just counted the lines. There's 11 lines, and there's 4 sides to this square. So it's 411. Okay. This is where you go to get information. This is an information booth.
I like that. That's deep.
It's the logo for Media Encoder, and he actually made the cover art for Media Encoder at one point. So he must have a special relationship with it. Yeah.
Okay, so there's 11 lines. So do you think it's like 11, like Stranger Things?
Oh,
it's got that blue and
then the 4 sides. Like, aren't there 4 boys in the group?
Okay, but it's called uncompressed. So
it's amazing how he seats so much meaning into his imagery.
Right. Right.
See,
okay.
I think this has to do with hemorrhoids.
Oh God!
Wait, now I'm very confused.
And the reason that is because if you look, if you look at void face,
I actually really do like the information thing, the 411 thing.
Well, it can be information about hemorrhoids. So
yes,
if you look at void face, it's a tight circle, and then if we go back to broken continuum, it's a broken circle, like when you get a hemorrhoid, and then here you go to your information booth to clean up your hemorrhoids.
But why is it square with 11 lines?
Because it's uncompressed.
I'm thinking that uncompressed means
I'm much better at this than you are.
Hey, you've got practice.
Maybe these squares are made up of these lines.
That's true. Every week.
Yeah. I think maybe the squares are made up of these lines, and like the lines start compressing to form the portal.
I think
this is like when it's first opening.
I think he got royalties from Andrew Kramer on this one, because there's like 7 different lens flares going on.
That's funny. I don't know. I don't know the story behind this, but I think it's very pretty.
Why is the person on their knees?
It's a very good composition.
Yeah,
because he's waving hi at his media encoder buddy that helps him compress his, renders.
All right, what's next?
So that he can put them on the internet.
Futuristic Wes Anderson, because it's almost symmetrical.
Well, this one may go in well with the next one. Okay. Like I'm telling you, this one and the next one, they are the other world that people have left to go. You talking
about the 18th Eft future?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Eft future number 18.
November 18th.
Okay, yes. Hey, wait a minute. What time is it?
12:02.
Oh, maybe I just haven't refreshed. Hold on. I was gonna say he hasn't posted today, but maybe he did it
3 hours ago.
Zero Journey.
Oh, okay. I just hadn't refreshed since earlier.
So,
okay, cool.
The first one this makes me, or the first thing about this is there is a new Kit Bash 3D pack out called Destruction, which is all like destroyed city assets, which is really cool.
Yeah. All right. So that's how we did it.
No, I don't know. I think that he's been doing destroyed stuff for quite a while, unless he's got personal connections with them. But I think he like either beat up these models, or like with the rubble he like actually simulates, just like does a rigid body simulation, drops a bunch of debris and stuff like that. But I think this is Redshift.
You think so?
Is maybe, or unless it's those, maybe it's just pretty Brograph spotlights, But
it could be.
I don't think so, because they're so. When I've used your spotlights with Octane's stuff going on, I get a lot of noise up towards the source point. But these are like really clean up towards the source point.
This looks almost like Photoshop.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's also very possible that he just created 2 lights cast on the ground, and then for the beams, those look like a preset from optical flares. So you can do like a circular completion thing where you just pop a couple of optical flares on there. So that would be another easy way to do it. But at the same time, there's a lot of there's a lot of also light casting on that building as if the spotlight's hitting it. So it might actually be 3D. I don't know.
I don't know. I really like how stylized the look is with the buildings and stuff. It doesn't look Octane-ish at all.
Yeah, I like how the guy's standing too. He's like almost.
That's what I was going to say.
He looks like he's proud of himself
there
a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
He caused it.
Yeah.
He caused the Eft future.
Yeah.
Jerk.
He's like, yep, I'm watching these guys take this place down, and that's kind of interesting. So why is that? And the question is this in the Terraform universe? So
no,
did they close up the gate? Did they
closed up the gate, and now they're that church that they're all praying to. They're trying to find the non-believers.
Yeah, but this says this is called Eft. This is called Eft Future, so it could be the future. Maybe they found a way to. The people in the other world were pissed that they cut off ties, and they found them and said, "Screw you! We're gonna destroy your world for cutting off our access."
Nah.
And I'm proud of it.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, only Beeple knows.
And his people.
All right.
Are we his people?
All right.
We're all his people.
We got an email here from Benjamin Allenson, who says, "Hey, brothers, loved the podcast this week. Probably one of my favorites so far. Short and lots of info.
Thanks.
I made the explainer video comment on Slack. FYI, it was a 30-minute explainer video. Mostly text, but still so long. Also had to turn it around in a few days. Anyway, thanks for the
days?
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for the talks every week. Love you, bros. Well, not like that, but you know what I mean."
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh wait, who is that? Oh, Benjamin, not Chris Dininger. I'm looking at these notes.
Chris Dininger is the one who said was talking about everybody poops. I read that one earlier.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I know. I vaguely know that dude. I think he lives in Tampa, where I will be shortly for Thanksgiving.
Oh, nice. All right.
Nice. I hate freaking the new podcast on iTunes or whatever. It's so dumb.
You use iTunes?
No, on my phone I use the podcast app.
Are you looking for reviews? We need reviews.
Yeah, I was checking.
Reviews, you can rate us on iTunes or leave a review because the reviews really help us in our ratings and help people find us, and good recommends when you have lots of good ratings. I don't know if we have anything new or not.
When you look up Brograph, the two things that come up under podcasts, they're Brograph and Pro Video Podcast.
Nice.
Yeah. That's funny.
They're sister podcasts.
Sister podcast. So we got any new reviews or no? We're gonna have to do another contest pretty soon. Nobody's reviewing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a new one or not.
All right, well, we'll wait until next week. Leave a review. You can also subscribe to the show if you don't already on your podcatcher of choice. Subscribe to our newsletter. Make sure you do that because we are going to be sending out our newsletter with our Christmas card in it.
Yes. You'll want to subscribe to this one. This one's pretty good.
Yeah. So you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt with the No Brograph, no Mograph tee, the limited edition Gate and D. Simone shirt, and the Paul Bad Feel the Bad 2020 shirt. All the profits from that one go to Doctors Without Borders. And pretty soon, if I can get the stupid thing fixed, we're going to have the Render Things shirt, which we've gone through 2 rounds and still not looking right. So
I need my wardrobe. I'm getting stains all over my shirt. You guys got to keep dressing
more
me.
Brograph shirts.
David, you got the link to the new Render Wars one, right?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Send me that.
Yeah, they're nicer shirts too.
I like mine. Yeah. I like the bigness.
If you want a Render Wars shirt, hit me up.
All right, cool.
Hit me up on the Slack.
Sweet.
Not you, David. I'll send it to you right now.
So
cool.
That's about it. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, of course, YouTube, and Brograph.com. Anything else? Where can everybody be found?
Places.
David.
Yeah.
AriaVisuals.com.
5-31.com for me.
Brograph.com for me.
Yeah.
Just do a search for Liam Quisham. That's
for me.
At David ARIEW on
not really. Don't go to that site.
Instagram and Twitter and all those places.
Cool.
There you go, David. It's in
our energy is like
chat.
Totally like draining. This is like the most boring
it's past midnight.
podcast.
Let's go to bed.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Wait, you have to show me that thing about the textures. You're not off the hook yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right, well, we're gonna get out of here. Until next week, I'm Dave.
I'm Matt.
I'm David.
I'm Liam.
Have a good one.
Later bros.
It's pretty good, I guess. Brograph.com, an online resource for learning Cinema 4D, After Effects, and other motion graphics tools specifically catered to help you prevail as a motion graphic designer.
What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph motion graphics tutorial.
With tutorials, plugins, and now a podcast with tens of thousands of listeners worldwide.
Yeah, it's a great community to be part of.
We give you professional time-saving tips, industry news, interviews, shortcuts, and lessons that help keep you current in the world of motion design.
Throw in HDR Studio, take the render settings, pick the HDR, put in a reflection, and gorgeous.
I love projects that scare me. When our art director comes to us and asks for something that I had never done before, man, it gets me pumped.
Our weekly long-form podcast will give you the latest news, help you in your file management, hardware configuration, and client relations. Learn about the latest render engines, modeling techniques, and workflow integration while staying entertained.
Real nice banana.
Ah, that's so funny. All right. I'm going to live forever.
Our Brograph Talks are a chance to see the way industry leaders from around the globe are changing the face of motion design.
Sometimes you got to make stuff that you're not going to put on your reel, and I'm not here to judge.
The podcasts and talks include people like Beeple, Barton Damer, Nick Campbell, Andrew Kramer, David Ariev, Chad Ashley, Paul Babb, EJ Hassenfrost, Mitch Myers, Chris Schmidt, Jules Urbach, Cornelius Dammert, David Brodeur, Andy Needham, Caitlin Kaju, Zubair Parker, Noseman, Ryan Bean, Casey Hupke, Nick Lyons, Sage, Joey Korenman, Jeremy Cox, Rick Barrett, John Dickinson, Matthias Omatola, Patrick Goski, Brandon Clements, Steve Teeple, Tom Glimpse, Patrick Longstream, Julia Simone, Devin Coe, Al Heck, and even Deadmau5.
You get that render done. Yeah, you better frame what?
Our Brograph breakdowns go behind the projects and give you an insight on what it's like to manage and maintain your own personal business or work for a large company. Join us for live sessions, check out our useful plugins, watch time-lapse projects, interact with us, and send us email questions and topic ideas. Or just hit the Rando Render button and do an imaginative daily that'll keep you on your toes.
Take all your dreams and let's do it!
Subscribe today and get automatic updates on the latest tutorials, tricks, tips, and inspiration brought to you by industry professionals Dave Koss and Matt Milstead.
We don't care how you get here, folks. Just get here.
Subscribe now to Brograph Tutorials. Pretty good, I guess.